Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 15th, 2024 Ware Town Board of Selectmen's meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to do public comment second.
They're not here yet.
They're not here yet? Okay. All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and get started with public comment, and then when Sugar and Spice comes in, even if we still have public comment, we'll stop, let her do our exchange because she has a time commitment that we've committed to her. We can get her out for. After that, Sherry's going to talk to us about Center Square headstones, if we have any department head committee items, hopefully a quick adoption of the update to the Board of Selectmen's operation policy. We've got fire department integration. My thought optimistically is that we can get through all of this in a public session. If we can't, I want to remind the board that we can call for a non-public, and if we do that, I'd like to move whatever remaining discussion we have to the end of the meeting so that we can get through everything else on the video as much as possible. So I'll open it up for public comment. You promised you'd do it. We're glad to see you.
Here I am,
Yeah.
wrong side of the podium. No. Rick Hippler, Quaker Street. Three things tonight. First is non-public sessions held by this board need to stay non-public, and I'll just leave it at that. Second one, police radios. I just want to make sure the board doesn't lose track of that. Remember that the ARPA money was expended by this board for the purpose of upgrading the radio system. And the equipment's already been purchased, and now that the weather has broke, we should be coming back towards getting that back underway, starting that tower up at the East Square Fire Station, and getting all the logistics worked out. But I just don't want to lose vision of that, that's all. And third, I did hear Selectman Drury ask about the capital area migration from base 100. There was a couple things that struck me from Fire Chief Fazina, and also being an end user. They have many things that they offer more than Goffstown Dispatch did. It was more than just monetary, and that kind of rolls together with the radio system. When Chief Moore and the board decided that we, and Selectman Van decided that we needed to go after radios because it was critical need. Chief Fazina kind of asked, well, what about the fire department? And we hinged a little bit on that as a board at the time because it was going to be way more money to upgrade fire and police, but with the migration to capital area, we started using their infrastructure. And I know you asked about the radios. They do not cover the actual hard radios, but they do cover the infrastructure.
And that was about 2002?
No, 2022, 2020.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I'm having problems with dates today.
Yeah.
2022.
2022, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, I just wanted a couple, and they also offer a bariatric truck for the larger patients. They have the central area hazmat unit. I'm sure all these things the fire chief could touch upon too, but I did listen to the meeting last week, and I said, well, I'll get up there and say my piece, at least on the Board of Selectmen side. There was a monetary factor as well for the radios, and when we migrated to that, there was multiple tests done, multiple areas to see how portables and mobiles worked, and it came back that basically the entire town was covered by the capital area. They have a site in Deering, Henniker, and we were covered pretty good for the town, for the fire department anyway. So just want to kind of give you that update. So thank you.
Thank you. It's just a little thing in a way, but I'm here quite often.
Can you state your name just so the people at
Yes,
home
I'm
know
sorry.
who you are for those that don't?
Yeah, Tom Clow, 125 Concord Stage Road.
Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me. I was elected to the board 18 years ago. And at that time, Helene Kirk was the chairman of the board. And as I sit here and I look at the curtains and the drapery in front of the stage, I remember that Helene made those.
Wow.
So you're looking at curtains in that drapery that are approximately 20 years old. So somewheres along the line, if you can fit it into the budget, I think they've reached the end of their life cycle. They're a little crusty looking. Again, it's a small thing, but then again, it's taking pride. You know what I mean? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. Sugar and Spice didn't come in yet, so Sherry, do you want to start on the center square? Thank you.
Sherry Burdick, Deering Center Road. I'll just pass these out so you all have them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So late last fall, I had talked about a lot of the stones being tipped over. Some were broken on the ground, some are broken in two, some are broken up so bad that they can't be put back up. And so I contacted 3 different companies, Perry Brothers, and the one, a main one in Manchester, and then over in Milford, and, not Milford, Peterborough, and the only one that got back to me was Perry Brothers. So they put this together, I walked through and I said, we probably, should take care of the ones that are gonna fall soon and may break or do damage. And then we went down through the list, second priority, the ones that were laying on the ground, needed to be brought back up. And then ones that were down and broken, and then ones that were leaning, but probably not gonna fall soon. And then the small headstones that were probably about a foot tall, they're just gonna be straightened up and lined up and not put in cement. And then extreme, these are the monuments that are already on the ground and broken into multiple pieces. And they felt that the best way to do that would be to set them in a bed of concrete so they could still be seen where the
Flat?
person is. Yeah, flat. Because there's no way they can pick them back up. They'll put them on a piece of plywood and put them back all together, and then dig down and put a bed of concrete in, and then one piece at a time, take them and put them back in the place so they're legible to read. So they came up with a total quote to do 163 monuments in Center Square alone for $35,092. And they felt that they probably could get started late May, early June, because right now they're putting monuments in for people that have passed away over the winter months. For burials, right now, they're fairly busy. But they would start in June and then work on it steady until through next fall to get this one done. And I spoke with Mark today, Mark Therian, and I asked him if we were going forward with this, how he would want to be paid, and he said not weekly, but monthly would be great for him, because he doesn't want to do a lot of bookkeeping on a weekly basis. So once a month, they'd keep track of what they did, and then they'd send a bill in. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, and this is just for Center Square, correct?
This is just Center Square. This was, out of all the cemeteries I looked at, this was the worst as far as headstones being tipped and broken and down on the ground. And, I think, if we could do one a year and get these cleaned up, it probably wouldn't be as expensive as this one, because the other cemeteries most of the ones are smaller, like Riverdale. That's got a lot of headstones that are either tipped or down. And so that might be a second one that could be looked at. And so I think we just got to pick away at it and try to get one done every year, or a couple of smaller ones done. And, it's really, the town needs to be respectful. We're supposed to be taking care of the cemeteries, so I'd be happy to, go oversee this whole project and continue on with it. As long as I'm in good health, I'd be happy to volunteer to do that.
And thank you for offering. Any questions for Sherry?
No, I did go on the website. We got like 40 to 50 cemeteries, and are we responsible for all these?
Yep,
Even the one Collins Cemetery, was it private?
No,
Is not the
that one is a little fishy. They want us to take it over, but
Right.
we do mow the lawn, right?
yeah, you do more, yeah. And actually, Saturday I was out, we put six signs up. We did, the sign up, behind Travis Cochran's, there's a cemetery way out in the field out there. We did, Osborne Cemetery off Maple Wall. And there's a headstone there that's broken in half in the last 2 years, because 2 years ago it was standing upright but leaning, and now it's broken in half and it's on the ground. And another one that's leaning quite a lot, that probably ought to get stood up too. And then from there, we went to, trying to think which one we went to. Oh, the Chase Cemetery on Gould Road. There's a headstone there that's been rolled down and it's off. It's not broken, but it needs to come back, and, big, not too tall a one, but square chunk kind of. And then we went down to Norris Road where the tomb was. We put a sign up down there Saturday. And I think Bill, Naomi's husband, cleaned a lot of that up. That was all briar bushes in front of the tomb and stuff, so that looks pretty, it looks pretty good, except I was under the impression there was 3 or 4 headstones in there, and I only saw one.
Yeah, it could be tipped over.
Yeah, I'll have to go down. I didn't have rakes with me and stuff. We just were trying to get the signs out for those cemeteries that didn't have a sign. And then we went up and did the Worthley Cemetery, which is back up off Eastman Hill. And there's a good-sized tree that's dead, that's fallen in the cemetery over into the live trees up behind the cemetery. And also, there's a big headstone there that's broken in half and down, and that was not like that 2 or 3 years ago. Last time I was in there, probably 3 years ago. So, I don't know how much time they'll help come fall. How the weather is for the summer will be how much they'll get done. Because if it's raining a lot, they probably won't get as much done as if it's good weather. But they're going to try to do this summer season.
I think we also have to share the funds, because we only have 30,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've got the trees that
Tree
we
work.
promised along the East Ware one.
Yeah.
Those have been flagged, but it was like $12,000 to get them removed.
Yeah, and our vendor that does the mowing cleanup, he said that there's also trees down in Pine Grove and Johnson that
Yeah.
we weren't aware of until just a few days ago, so.
So, to that, I was thinking that we might be able to ask Emma Sawyer Fund to, Mildred Hall Fund rather, to put some money toward this project, so we can get the trees done and get this cemetery started.
Okay.
And so we could have a meeting in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and if they're willing to give us 30,000 or 25,000 toward the project, or up to 30,000 or whatever, then we could start the project, knowing we had the funds.
That would be helpful. At this point, I don't think we know how much the trees are gonna cost to get all that done, so I
So
don't
maybe we
know how
can
much
just
we
ask-
have.
We can ask Mildred Hall if they would just go up to 35,092, because we may have more trees. We have the Worthley one that has a big tree down in it. And so maybe it would be good just to ask them to cover the total amount, and then if we don't need it, and there's $8,000 or $10,000 left out of that 30,000 Cypre money, then they would pay the difference from that. But I'm happy to fill out the paperwork for Mildred Hall and turn it in, so they'll have a meeting fairly soon, if that's what you guys would like me to do.
Before I ask that question, will all the work be done on site, or do they have to remove any headstones and take them off
No,
site
no,
anywhere?
No, as
All
far-
on site?
everything's right there.
Okay. What's everybody think about asking Mildred Hall to partially or up to that amount funding?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, I'd be okay with voting to let you move ahead as long as you got permission from Mildred Hall to go up to 36,000.
Yeah, I think she's asking for our approval just to go ask them for the money. Is
I
that
need that
correct?
approval
Yeah,
from you guys to go.
yeah.
I mean, I could do it, but it's a town cemetery.
Oh,
So
I understand.
I don't wanna,
Yeah.
I think the town has to say yay and nay here,
Yeah.
but,
Should we fill the form out, though? Because you've said on Mildred Hall. Would that
yeah,
look
I
a
mean,
little
yeah,
awkward?
you could do the form like
Just
before.
like I did
Naomi.
before, because
Yeah.
Sherry sits on the Mildred Hall, so to fill out the form and
forgot that.
ask and sit on the board is a little
Yeah,
awkward.
I can't, I recused myself when Naomi came because I sat on that board too.
Right.
So I would have to, if I'm gonna volunteer to work on this project, I would recuse from the vote at Mildred Hall.
Okay.
Do we have any information on all those funds? I keep hearing all the funds, but I don't know
Why,
what
at
they're,
Mildred Hall?
any of them, because there's a few.
Yeah,
aren't
Beth
there?
has all that.
Yeah,
She
Beth
knows,
has
yeah,
all of
okay.
that, yeah.
I think it's a good ask. Did you reach out to the other, you said two of them didn't respond.
They
Is that
d-
by
they-
email?
No, I called them.
Phone calls? Okay. Just for the, purchasing policy, but I
Well,
guess it's still.
if we ask Mildred Hall, it won't be coming from the town well, it will, but it won't,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a pass-through.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone like to make a motion to ask Mildred Hall for the money?
I'll move that we request up to $35,092 from Mildred Hall for the, I guess, for town cemetery work to include monument repair and tree removal.
Not tree removal.
Just monument
Just gonna be
repair?
monument.
Yeah.
Well, because we were talking about,
Well, you got 30,000 that got
The
voted
tree
in
removal's
on.
on us, and I brought that up only because
Yeah.
it would be competing for money that we have.
Right,
That's why I brought it up.
yeah, because we
Okay.
thought we might. be
scratch
able to-
that, tree removal.
Yeah, we thought we might be able to split that money, but we don't know that at this point.
And that it's specific to Center Square. Or not.
Well, that's what, I mean, if we leave it open-ended and we end up,
Up to.
I mean, if we, but is it worth making the ask? And then we find out, oh, you know what, maybe we hit the priority 1, 2, 3 here, and then 1, 2, 3 somewhere else. As a for instance, just to leave it open to be able to do that.
I'm okay with leaving it open-ended, because hopefully the tree removal won't take the whole 30,000, some of that can offset this.
Right. Or could, if they had time, could work in another cemetery
And
even.
if Mildred Hall's, that committee's okay with letting you fix a couple stones somewhere else.
Yeah, just limit it to the monument repair.
Sure, yeah,
We're not going and spending it on whatever.
yep,
Okay. Is there a second?
my second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Say aye. Yeah, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone abstain? I think I heard 5 ayes, Sherry.
Okay.
So you're
thank
okay
you.
with me filling out the form?
I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Naomi will fill the form out.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need a signature on that from us, do you?
I filled out the last one.
Okay.
I don't think there's a signature, it's just more informational.
Yeah.
Yeah, just information, because, yeah. And do you have a form, Naomi, or do I?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for bringing this to us,
Sugar and
Sherry.
spices here.
Okay. All right. Next on the agenda would be sugar and spice lease discussion.
Don't be nervous. She
Thanks,
doesn't like
Naomi.
to public speak.
No one does. It's just-
Yeah, right? I'm fine over there, just leave me over there.
I can be childish if you like.
Sure, that works.
So this is Christy
Hi, Christy.
and Darlene.
Hi, darling.
Christy's the treasurer, I believe.
Well, not technically, we have a board, and our treasurer is not here, but I pretty much do everything in the office. I'm the office manager, so.
And Darlene's one of the teachers.
She's our, yep,
She's the
teacher director.
Okay.
Director. So I'll let them tell you about them. I know a little bit about them.
All right. Well, we had your request for an renewal of the lease, and we had some questions. I don't know if those have been sent to you or not, but
Yep.
it was suggested that maybe you just come in and tell us a little bit about what you guys do over there. Just, we don't know you, so
Yeah,
thought I'd give you an opportunity to
well,
let us know you, you know us.
sure. Well, I'm Christy. I've been over there for almost 11 years now. Miss Darlene has been there.
For like 28.
No, like 30. I honestly don't even know how long Sugar and Spice has been around, except that we opened sometime in the 70s, so it's been open for probably about 50 years at this point. And honestly, we're the last two teachers standing over there right now. So we're just trying to get teachers, and I know there was some questions with this, so like I said, as far as getting our lease, I was like, okay, well, whatever that you guys have questions about, just let us know, because.
We are a non-profit co-op, so we do have a lot of parent participation. We have a board of directors, and, a board, and they pretty much make a lot of the decisions, and they're all made up of parents that go to the school.
And that's how it's been the whole time.
What general questions, do you have anything?
No, I don't know.
I mean, we know Benji, he's come in and got the water samples, so, I know Naomi comes over all the time, but as far as the rest of you, I don't know.
Welcome to stop by.
You just answered one of my questions about the board. It's a fully staffed board right now. You don't have any
It is,
slots on that.
no, it is, and it changes every year, so that's how, even though we have a full board of directors, like I said, with it changing every year, Darlene and I have just kind of become the primary people to oversee the school. So that's why we're here tonight, because like I said, I'm in the office, she's one of our teachers, and so we, like I said, we just kind of know everything that's going on since we've been there the longest, because our board can change literally every year with new families coming in and old families leaving.
And they come in and they help us with fundraisers, because a lot of us, we depend a lot on fundraisers for our school, because we try to keep our prices as low as possible for the community. We're also the only preschool in town that offers a pre-K program, and now that the school has cut their program, we have our classes that we take those children in as well.
How many children do you have in the school?
Currently, we have about 30. We're a pretty small school, I think.
Yep.
In the past, we've had up to between 40 and 50, so it doesn't go much above that. But due to staffing, we've had to keep our numbers on the lower side this last couple of years.
Yeah, it's unfortunate ever since COVID. It's like our clientele went down at that point. We did lose a few teachers at that time too, and so we're just trying to rebuild. Right now, we're pretty much making ends meet to pay staff and our expenses. So we're hoping that we can get the teachers in, and then we can get our clientele up as well, because we have people calling, because there's most of the daycares are in the same street, and they're not able to accept other children because of staffing issues. So if we can get our staffing up, then we can accept more children in the community, so.
Sounds like there's a lot of fond memories there from Facebook. My wife was telling me earlier.
You said it's been around since the 70s. How long has it been at this building? The whole time?
The whole time,
Okay.
yep.
Wow.
What'd that building originate as? How was it built style?
It says it was the machine shop
I think
or
it was the
shop of
shop.
some
Wood
kind.
shop.
Wood shop?
When this was the high school.
Yeah, it's gonna be part of the school, yeah.
And then the 4-H club or something.
Oh, Tom
Yeah,
knows.
Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you asking about the timeline.
Yeah, can you come up so people at home can hear you, please?
Everybody can know
Sorry.
the timeline.
Do you have a hand in that building?
Actually, I did in the original class. No, it wasn't in the original class, but my son, Scott, my youngest son, was in the first kindergarten class, and a group of parents remodeled it from the wood shop to what it is now. And for the point of information, he turned 54 years old in December, so it's been there a while.
More than 50 years. Okay. Wow. Thank you.
Does the public the kindergarten has gone full-time in public, so
Yes.
did that affect you at all? It
We
did.
just, we don't, no longer have a kindergarten program.
Okay, so it's
We
all
did-
pre-K?
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
pre-K and nursery class
Okay.
Okay.
and daycare.
The lease had that you supply us monthly financial aid reports. Do you guys do that, and what do we do with them?
No, because like I said, when I started back almost 11 years ago now, that was nothing anybody had brought up to me, as far as who I took over for in the office. And it's never, I mean, we have to renew this lease every 3 years, and it hasn't been anything that has ever been
Asked
asked of us before, so I hadn't done it. Like I said, when this original lease agreement came upon, I have no idea. I've never been part of it, other than literally just sending over a paper that asks for it to be renewed, and that's all I have had. So I've never sent one over because I've never been asked, and it wasn't something that I knew of prior, so.
It's not something that you just generate and keep in the file somewhere. You don't even know what they are. Is that what
Well,
I'm hearing?
I do print off like a profit and loss, for our accountant every year, so that is something that I can, if that's what you guys are looking for, I can, supply it. I will say I usually try to, I mean, if it's something that I need monthly, I can get it to you guys, however,
Well, I don't want you to do something if we don't do anything with it. I mean,
I don't know what the town.
no one here knows what we
Yeah.
would do with it either.
Yeah, I don't know what the,
So-
I don't know what that original agreement was for,
Okay.
so.
I would guess it would have to do a lot with like what you have to file for, to keep your nonprofit status, things like that.
Yeah, and which, like I said, I just sent everything to the accountant, we're still under nonprofit status, so I assume that everything's, but,
How often do you submit that to the accountant?
just once a year.
Just once a year?
Yep, I send them, in end of, sometime between July and August, I usually send them our stuff for our taxes, and that's it. So that's the only time.
So we could supply
And
that
I-
for you guys once a year if that would.
Yeah,
be
that seemed like, to me, it probably made more sense that they were probably looking for the fact, are you really a nonprofit?
Yeah, and honestly, again, I've had the same accountant for the last 10 years, or the whole time I've been there, and he has never asked for any more, so it's not like stuff has been any different. Like I said, we're pretty, everything's the same since I started there, from the lease and what was asked or not asked of me to do, to having the same accountant, to having the same insurance company, everything has been the same, so.
I think a lot of this is just cleaning things up on our side. It's not,
Yeah,
asking
yeah,
for,
Yep, no,
looking to look under rocks or whatever, but,
Yeah.
so it may be worth saying, I guess, confirm nonprofit status annually, and, I mean, should we make the agreement contingent on that? Assuming it's just gonna stay that way forever.
The reason I would say that we want to make it contingent is because of the low price that you get on the rent. And if you're ever a for-profit company, then we would hopefully want to reassess the rent.
yeah.
Yeah, so that probably should be a good thing. Okay. Second question I had related to insurance. The lease says that you'll do 500,000 in property damage, but the rider that we have only shows 100K in property damage. Can you,
And again, that was something that I haven't changed insurance companies in the almost 11 years I've been there. I didn't make any of those changes. Our board wouldn't have made any of those changes because, again, being in the office, even though we have a secretary or a treasurer, I'm the one that deals with all of this. So as far as, again, what the original agreement with the town was, and if at some point it got moved, again, it wasn't with me, and it's been 11 years, so.
Even though I've been there forever, I've never been involved in the office. I've always been on the teaching end of it, so I wouldn't know when they would have changed that.
okay.
And I did call our insurance company to ask them about that, and at first, so she actually, which I can give to you guys, she originally thought we had some extra coverage with it, but then looking further into it, she didn't, so she redid this. It's still 100,000, but there was a little blurb on there, which is not there anymore, about fire and up to $416,000, but when she looked further into it, it wasn't on there, so, or I guess part of our policy, even though it was on there, so I did print out a new copy for you guys. When I had asked her as well, do we need she didn't know when it was changed either, but I said, do we need 100? I mean, that's what is in the agreement. I said, but, is that something our building needs? And she asked me a couple of questions. She's like, I think it's sufficient, but if that's what the town is asking for, then we can look into changing that for you, so.
Okay. Do you have any idea what the recommendation would be from our insurance company? Can we get that? I would say that we should probably ask our insurance company what they think we should have on it.
Yeah.
And if it's 100,
Okay.
it's fine. If it's 500, we'll come back and let you know that that's what they suggest, or
Yep.
maybe it's something in between there. Who
Right,
knows?
right.
Okay. All right, so I think we do need to get that answer, though, before we can change the wording and, or sign the lease, so
That makes sense.
hopefully we can get that done fairly quickly, though.
Okay.
Anything else for Sugar and Spice?
Nice to meet you.
Very nice putting faces.
Do you want the updated copy that she
If you can just give that to Naomi, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you want the profit and loss for the first half of the year? Do you want that just? to
Yeah,
see?
we'll take it.
Okay, there you go.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, department head committee items. Anything? Okay. We've talked a fefew times about updating the Board of Selectmen's operation policy, and do we have that for signature this evening? It was sent out.
Here's the clean copy.
I'm doing so good with dates today, I didn't even write down the date.
That's the clean copy.
Okay. Does anybody need to look at it again before we?
I think I emailed you, there was a couple, I changed the phone number.
Yeah. Anybody? Okay. Is everybody good with it?
Good.
Yes. All right, well then I'd entertain a motion that we sign it. The revision dated 4/15 as a formal update to the policy. Anyone want to make that, or I'll move it and someone can second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead and move it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the revision to the Town of Ware Board of Selectmen's meeting operations policy dated 4/15/2024.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I heard 5, but just to verify, anyone opposed? And anyone abstain? Okay. Okay, I'm not dating anything else today. I dated in Marine's slot,
You did?
yeah. I lined through it. So we can get that over to her and she can record it. I know she's not here today,
Tomorrow.
yeah. And then get a version on the website after she's done with that and distribute to everybody that needs it.
Yep.
Okay. All right, good, thank you. That brings us in the agenda to fire department integration. So I guess before we start talking about the chief, Did we have any update on getting the policies integrated?
I haven't finished. We
It's not
only found
finished?
the Word document today. We had a
Ah.
PDF that I tried to convert, and it didn't come out pretty. So Beth found it for me, and I have it. I haven't finished putting all in there.
Okay, all right. All right, so I'll open it up to anybody that wants to start on the rest of the integration of the fire department.
It's the biggest question I see is just, are we happy with how, not even are we happy, but how do we want the department to look and operate? And then look at how it does today, and if we're happy, leave it alone. If you think there need to be changes, make changes. But, so I think the piece that I think we're missing is, what do we actually think it should look like?
And by that, you're talking about whether it's going to be full-time staff or
Sure,
some on-call.
We've heard, and actually digging through my old notes, you know, we used to talk about the split between fire and EMT. That's another big one to me. In these notes somewhere. Like looking at the number of calls over the last year. Regardless of if I find this piece of paper, that's what I'm talking about. And maybe that's the place to start talking is, not these. Is it a good split? Do we need to alter it in any way? Or leave it alone?
And alter what?
That is to say, you know, staffing, equipment, training, all that on fire versus EMS. I don't have it in front of me. At some point in the last 12 months, we've gotten an email, or public comment perhaps, on, you know, how other towns operate similarly near here. Sort of, you asked where we should start, I think it's where we should start. I don't have a grand plan otherwise.
So as far as the split, sorry, training as far as EMTs, strictly EMT or cross-training is currently where we are? I don't fully understand.
I would propose that we talk to the chief, but.
Okay. Chief?
Wondering when you were gonna ask.
You know we would.
What is exactly the question?
You're taller.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is the question that you're trying to ask?
I guess, what is this, and it's multifaceted, of course, people, equipment, schedule, training, all that stuff.
Correct.
What are the different ways that the department is split, fire and EMT?
The department's not split. So
We have different people doing different things. I think that it's
All-
not necessarily a division, but.
yep, the full-time crew that we have that are employed full-time are firefighter EMTs. That's what when the proposed, full-time model was put forth by Chief Vizina, all the warrant articles for those positions are full-time firefighter EMT. And that's what those people were hired in those positions. Now, we do have a call department, and we have people on the call department who respond, and those are, I don't want to call them volunteers anymore because they're not. We pay them, right, per call, but they come to trainings and everything else like that. All that stuff is open to those same people as it would be the full-time people. Any kind of training they want to go to, if they want to advance in firefighting end of things, if they want to advance in the medical end of things, that's up to them to come forth with that. So as far as training, there's no difference between the full-time and the the on-call people, the paid call people.
How many call people do we have?
Well, we lost, let's see, 6, I believe, right now.
6 right now?
Yeah.
And what's that, what did that number used to be, I guess, in the last 12 months?
Well, back when when Chief Vizina proposed this, okay, actually, I'm gonna go back even further. About 13, 14 years ago, when the town was in a little bit of a pickle, I guess, because there was no response from the town, they created the per diem program. And that's what started the whole thing, where you had per diem coverage during the course of the day. You had people coming in to work from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then the call department would take over from 5 to 7 a.m. the next day, and they would also cover the weekends.
So you say no response, it was just
And-
no response if a call came in?
Right, and
Okay.
at that point, there was over 30 members on the department. And basically, life happens, you know? The days, unfortunately, the days of having a very robust call department where you have a lot of people coming out and participating, those days are gone. And that's not only in the fire service, that's I think, in anything you could look at nowadays that says any kind of volunteerism is just down, really, all across the board. But for us, and for the town of Ware, and this is before I got here, but before that, there was such a need that they developed the per diem program. And I was one of the first people, so I was employed as a per diem person 13 years ago. So as far as the department, what the department looks like today, again, we have our full-time staff, which we're still missing 3 people
Out of 8, right?
out of 8. So we're still missing, almost half the department is gone. And we have our call people, and we have per diem staff that works. And we brought back that, we had to bring that back again, because we just can't have our people working, some of our people are working 96 hours a week. And that's not sustainable, nor is it safe. So, and with no end in sight, again, I have had no more applicants apply for the job, for any of the jobs. So we're relying more on per diem people to come in and fill in those gaps, fill in the holes, give our people a little bit of rest in between. I have also come off, I was working 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then my shift was covered, my 24-hour shift was covered from 5 p.m. till 7 a.m. the next morning. And then those hours that I did not work, I worked in the office doing the chief's job. I'm back working a 24-hour shift because, again, there's just no way we could do the coverage. So I'm trying to still do both jobs, but I'm now, like, as of tomorrow, I work my 24-hour shift. I already worked a 24-hour shift on Friday. I'm gonna have 54 hours in by tomorrow, and I still have Wednesday and Thursday to go. So, it's just a lot of time.
And are all the full-time people working similar schedule?
Everyone is to the max. Kudos to the full-time staff. We're really trying to hold this all together because it's a lot of hours, like I said. People are working 96 hours a week. And that's And that's honestly, that's for the foreseeable future. There's really not, until we get some applicants, there's no end in sight in that. So I'm trying to, we have been reached out to some of the per diem folks who we had before, when we had the per diem program, and we have reached out to them and continue to reach out to them to see if we could drag them back and give some relief for our people.
How many people are currently in the per diem bracket?
I have four. I have four right now that are in the per diem. Some of them were previous employees, which makes it great, because when they come back, it's easier for Beth, it's easier for us. They already know the town. You don't have to tell them any of that, so that's what's nice about that. They slide right in and they're back working like they never missed a beat.
And you had mentioned at the pace you're going, at one point, that resource is lost, right?
Well, the more per
Or
diems we
minimized.
reach out to, originally, we had a couple of per diem people that were really cranking in hours. I have asked Beth to contact the state of New Hampshire Department of Labor and the Retirement Board, because these are full-time firefighters in other communities, okay? They have a full-time job somewhere else, and they're working here. And I don't want to jeopardize their retirement in any way. And by law, they can only work so many hours per year. And basically, I don't want to use up somebody, so come September, I say, well, that's it. I can't use you anymore for the rest of the year, and then, you're gone. So, again, the more per diem people that we can have on right now to fill holes, and they all understand that if we start hiring people back full-time, that their schedule's gonna get less and less and less. So, they understand that.
And it's been 5 weeks you've had,
It's been 6 weeks, and it's been a week, like a week and a half, I guess, since the last employee left. It was last Saturday. So,
And how do you advertise for per diem openings? I mean, to get new folks into that pool?
we made up flyers that we have and we hang at the hospitals. Usually the hospitals are a great place to hang stuff, because people go into the EMS rooms there and they'll take a look at, that's where everyone hangs up their stuff in there for, and again, we're
Like the clubhouse of EMT
Yeah,
paramedics?
yeah, I mean, you go in there, usually have some decent snacks and stuff like that, so people hang out there, but we hang the stuff up there, so they've been put at CMC, Elliott, St. Joe's, Concord Hospital, so they're around,
Okay. Anything
the-
online to maybe get somebody outside of the area?
Online, as far as our job stuff, it's through, the Fire Academy website. So our jobs are posted on there, and our jobs are posted on the town website also.
And that includes, both of those online sites include the per diem? right now?
I'm not sure about the town website, if that has the per diem folks on it or not.
Don't think we.
One thing we're a little bit short of, again, and it kind of stinks that it always boils down to it, but is the money thing. Because every time someone raises that's how you attract the people, is gonna be by the money. For instance, we pay $26 for an A, and we pay $28 for a paramedic per diem. Well, at the time, I literally made up the flyer, and 3 days later, New Boston raised their rates, and now they're over $30. They're almost $31 an hour for a paramedic, and they're like $28 or $29 for an A. So people are gonna go where the money is, unfortunately, and I hate to say that that's like the only factor. But that's the world we're living in today. And so I think we're really trying to rely on some of our older per diem people. Again, they already know the drill. We don't have to go through, you know, a bunch of stuff. It's more or less just taking, most of these men and women have had department physicals somewhere else, so like they come in, we don't have to send them out. And we don't have to train someone brand new coming into a per diem slot. And that's just more of a cost for the department. It's more of a, now that person can't work, you know, we're taking our resources, and now we may have to have a full-time person stay with that person for another 5 months while they get to know everything and do everything, versus someone who's worked for us before. It's a lot easier just sliding them in, so we've been trying to do that.
How many state openings are there? Last time you're somewhere around 50.
Last time I looked, there was around 50.
What's the cost of a per diem person versus a full-timer?
The per diem, well, the per diem person is definitely, we pay them more money, but, I mean, to get exact figure, I would have to talk to Beth on that and get you that. I mean, we pay per hour. Our per diem people make more than our people working full-time, and that's pretty much around the thing, but you're not paying for vacation, you're not paying sick time, you're not paying into the retirement system. There's no benefits at all you're giving them, basically. So that's the cutoff or the trade-off on that. So getting to your original question, I don't know if that answered that or not. If that did, or if you still have more questions on that.
I think that covered people pretty well. Sorry, let me get this note the rest of the way. But that doesn't, you know, I also talked about like equipment, and you did, I think you covered training in here.
Yeah, I touched a little bit on the training. What did you want to know about equipment?
I'm just picking, you know, when we talk about needs of fire versus like paramedic, well, that seems to boil down to fire trucks versus ambulance. So, is that fair or not fair? And then do the equipment needs that we've looked at, like for CIP in the years going forward, do those align with the like call percentages that we've been seeing the last couple of years?
Yes, yes, it would. And the equipment really, when you talk about, it's very hard to say, the equipment, say an EMT level compared to a firefighter or whatever. You're a firefighter EMT, so if a fire call comes in, you hop on a fire truck. If a medical call comes in, you hop on an ambulance. So there's really not, so we need both of those, we need all of that equipment, and everybody, all the full-time people are utilizing all that equipment. So if there's, again, you know, fire tone goes off, we go in the fire truck, and you have a firefighter, could be firefighter paramedic, firefighter AEMT, or firefighter basic, or EMR, or someone who has first aid, for that matter, is on the fire side. So. And as far as the trucks and stuff like that, I mean, last year was unfortunate that we didn't get a truck because the price went up substantially this upcoming year. But, you know, the apparatus has a cutoff point where it's no longer, it falls off on your ISO rating, and it's no longer, you can no longer have that on there. So we need to, and especially where it takes 3 years now to get a truck built, and so we don't see it in 3 years.
That's even farther than last I heard.
Yep,
I'd
when
heard about a year and a half last.
originally, when I did the CIP in the fall, it was, I want to say it was 28 months, And I just went to the Chiefs convention, that they had, and talked to a bunch of the manufacturers came up and wanted to know, you know, how we, of course, I told them we weren't looking for a truck anymore, but they were telling me everything, and now it's pretty close to 3 years out for a truck.
Yeah, I know automatic transmissions are indefinitely out.
What's that?
A truck with a
Automatic?
large series automatic transmission is out indefinitely. They don't have a date on it.
Yep. So as a matter of
I got
fact,
the second to last slot Western Star had, and they were the last ones to have. it.
really,
Wow.
so I had, on a good note, kind of a side point, we got our new ambulance delivered the other day. As a matter of fact, it was up at the chief's show, and the guy probably sold a couple of ambulances from it, because it's a really good-looking ambulance. So the ambulance is here.
Over on,
It's at the station. It is not in service yet because we cannot put it in service. We do not have a radio in it yet. Now, I talked to the radio guys while I was up there, and they said that the 1st of June, or the first week in June date was modified, and they're starting to see stuff come in a little bit sooner. So that might be helpful to us, but we can't get it registered, we can't get it inspected through the state EMS Bureau until we have a mobile radio in it. So, and I'll be going up to the state, next couple of days with the title and stuff like that, Beth, so we can get some plates on it and stuff like that, but. So that's good, that's in. The manufacturer of the ambulance said if you want another ambulance, if one is due, like you look at our CIP, and we have another ambulance due in 3 years that we have to buy it, we need to put in and order a chassis now. Now, when we order a chassis, and this is kind of getting totally off topic, so my apologies, but just want to let you guys know, when you order a chassis, they're just saying, it's just a placeholder. It's like they're just taking, this truck is being built 2.5 years from now, and it's just a number that they're taking that VIN number and they're putting that it belongs to the town of Ware. And there's no obligation to us, there's no paperwork, there's absolutely no nothing, because if we don't take it, there's 50 other people lined up that are gonna snatch that chassis and use it for their ambulance. So, but it gives us a placeholder so we don't have to wait. So when the time comes to get an ambulance, we already have ours is already in the queue moving down the line.
do fire trucks operate the same way?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Although, with a fire truck, I don't think that you would be able to say no money down. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, that's why I was
haven't-
asking, yeah.
I haven't. I would almost, I know there was a big thing with the money aspect of it and everything else like that. And I would almost say, to, when that time comes around again, to maybe toss out the idea of like a lease purchase type thing. I mean, we're gonna own this thing until it goes to White Farm, or whatever the name of the farm is when it goes there in 30 years or whatever. So it's not like we're gonna be turning the thing in or anything, so we're gonna own it for a long time. So it might be behoove us to look at maybe that, so we're not shelling out a whole bunch of money, but then we're gonna be good for 30 years or whatever, 25 years.
We have paid for the ambulance that way. I think the last one we did a lease purchase with every year's payment coming from the ambulance billing funds. When we were short.
The one that we just got delivery though, we bought.
The one we just got delivered,
One
we
prior to
paid.
that, I think.
Yeah.
we-
One
we-
prior to that,
we paid.
not this one. We paid a 3-year lease on,
The one before?
yeah. Yeah, it was like a 3-year lease.
Okay.
And so the price of everything is going up. This ambulance we just got was $355,000. The next ambulance that we buy is guaranteed to be around $450 for an ambulance.
They import them from China, what do you?
Supply chain issues, I guess, I don't know.
That's,
Got 1 ton of the box on it.
There you go.
look what they get
Yeah,
for
a
one
big
ton on
truck.
a lot. vehicle. I mean, that's crazy. That's almost 6
Pickup
figures.
truck with a cap.
So I guess for the, get back to the integration discussion, I mean, I don't, so what is the discussion we're really looking to have and decision to make tonight? Cause as far as, per diem, part-time, full-time, I mean, that's been proposed and overwhelmingly voted on by the people.
Yeah, they voted several years to put in
4
2 a
years in
year.
row, Yeah, so I would think that we'd wanna keep that option open, but we have to do the other programs until he can fill them.
Correct. To fill the holes, really.
I don't think, really, I really don't think that's up for us to decide. If it is, I'm certainly gonna vote to keep it full-time. I've seen the benefit in it, first of all, and second of all, that's definitely what the public voted on. It never came back and said, not once did it come back and say, no, we don't want that. 4 years in a row it passed.
I think one of the decisions that we have to think about is your chief. You gotta decide that at some
Yeah, I
point.
thought that really was all we had to talk about was the chief aspect, because if the person that's gotta handle it till we get back to full-time. But that's my opinion. I don't know what the rest of you guys were. I missed last.
Well, I
week's
think some
meeting.
of it is just, we don't have as much experience in what the fire department
Sure,
has, so I think some of it's just background.
sure.
I'm not certain that anybody's suggesting that we go and change what the voters said.
So what you said, it was 4 years in a row? We vote
Yeah.
every year, if it's gonna be
Yeah.
full-time or part-time?
They voted two full-timers a year for 4 years, so they got 8 people.
Okay.
That's how the proposal was put by Chief Vizina.
And I believe the last one was 2022 for 2023. Is that right?
I don't remember the dates, but maybe
Yeah,
possibly.
it's just a few years ago that the last 2 came on.
Yeah, the plan was so that it would be 24/7, 365, because you'd have 8 versus, because they do 24-hour shifts.
And the payroll line actually came down with that when they did that. Obviously, there's other things involved as far as benefits and stuff, but.
Yeah, and right now the amount of overtime is, definitely got that line item up.
Right. So I would think that, Chief and us would be pushing forward to get back to 8 full-timers, but it seems to be the same story. I don't care if you're making ice cream cones or driving fire trucks, there's not enough workforce out there. So I don't know why, but there isn't.
I can't figure it out either. It just seems like everybody's stopped working. I mean, I know that's not the case, but there's just so many openings, it
You don't
just
know where
feels
they
like
went.
everybody just stopped working.
I do not know where the workforce went. but-
Yeah. What else was on your list?
That was it for me.
Do you have an update on the compressor? Or what you guys are doing?
Actually, no. Sorry. Actually, no, because I called, I had not heard from them, and I called today. They're down in Massachusetts, and today is Patriots' Day in Massachusetts, so it's a state holiday and everyone's off.
Good.
So they're supposed to contact me tomorrow with an update on where they stand with getting that piece out of Germany
That's
and the
a
cost.
coil, right?
Yeah, it's a high-pressure stainless steel, high-pressure line, so.
All right. How you guys dealing with it?
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
That we haven't had any huge events that we used a lot of air in. And again, our mutual aid partners, I'm sure we could get by.
Yeah.
That's, I don't even, not even hesitate. We would do the same for anybody else, so.
Okay.
I don't believe that there's a problem with that. If we needed to get bottles filled, we could get them filled. This is just gonna be an ongoing issue, moving forward and stuff like that. If we don't have a compressor, then we might be wearing out our welcome a little bit, knocking on people's doors all the time to get our stuff filled.
Yeah. Outside of that, I agree, we gotta make a decision on the chief's position.
That's the purpose of the night's discussion. Thoughts?
And it's been decided that we're gonna have a part-time chief this year, so really it's the decisions if we're gonna keep, Chief Rourke and move him to the part-time chief, or put it out in some sort of application. Right, so.
Agreed.
I know he wants to know, and the other fire members want to know. That's another few weeks to months to find somebody, I would think, if we did that.
And
My
just-
opinion,
no, And just, I'm sorry.
no, that's fine. We've already got 3 people down, I'm sure. Got a lot of overtime workers. Morale hopefully is up, but I can't see it staying at a high level for a long period of time, under these conditions. And putting a leader in place, I think, needs to be done sooner rather than later.
James? Yeah, James had something first.
Well, but you can stand up, because I have
Oh,
a kind of
okay.
a question for you. Maybe
Okay.
you can confirm this, so by moving you to the part-time chief, that takes you out of a full-time position, which would drop us down to 4 full-time?
Correct, that's why I was gonna get up, because if you pull me into that position, essentially it's gonna get worse before it gets better. I mean, I will be, if you folks put me into that position, I have to retire out of the state retirement system, which puts me, I cannot work for the town of Ware for 28 days. I have to be separated from the town for 28 days before I could come back as a part-time employee.
And that's in any capacity. You have
That's
to be
in
separated in any
That's
capacity.
yeah, I mean, I could come in and have coffee and say, hey, I think you should probably do this or that or whatever, but, I can't be signing anything or anything like that. I can't be on a fire scene, I can't be on a medical scene.
So,
So-
I guess before discuss that anymore, what is your wishes? Would you like to stay part-time chief, or do you wanna stay in a full-time position? Or we argue about if you ought to be chief or not, if you don't wanna be.
Well, I mean, I had, that was the whole thing that I went through the interview process with MRI, was for the part-time
Okay,
position.
well, that's what I assumed, and then
And-
you got up and made
and-
it sound a little different.
Oh, I just want to be transparent
Oh, yeah.
that, it's probably gonna get a little worse before it gets better type thing,
No, all right, I just wanted to
So,
make sure I was understanding.
So what would you?
But yes, exactly, if, once I come off the floor, that opens up that position. So that doesn't mean I'm gonna be there, I can only work like 25 hours a week as the part-time chief. That's for the state of New Hampshire, so that's all I can work. Now, similar to the per diems, I could work a 40-hour week. But then come, say, September, once I reach my magical hours, I can't work anymore. Or actually, the state of New Hampshire the penalty of that is they take away my pension for a year. I can't afford that, so.
So in those circumstances, what would be your proposal?
I would like to be the part-time chief. I mean, that's what I interviewed for the position for. I do believe in my heart that the department really needs a full-time chief. And I don't know, maybe next year that could go on, again to try for that. Because there's so much work that needs to be done. And the department would benefit for that. Like if I was a full-time chief, I'd be there Monday through Friday, and being a paramedic thing, I could be supplemental to somebody, or I could be working as that person and have one person, one full-timer, right? One full-time person working, and I could be working and then have someone come in at nighttime or whatever.
What would be for the 28 days you're not allowed to be there, how would things operate for 28 days?
We would have to find someone to come in for 28 days and take that over. And take over the chief's job, basically. And be another interim chief for 28 days. So whether you could contact, MRI again to do that, I have not pursued anything, but there is a couple of, one person that I had in mind that works on another department. He's a chief officer on another department, and he's been on our department before. And it would be maybe work something out with him. That would be between him and you guys on that, to figure that out if he wanted to come in and do 15 hours or whatever, just to kind of get by with bills and stuff like that and do whatever has to be done.
But this transition takes time too, because you have to reach out to the retirement.
Correct,
Right.
correct. This is,
You
this,
still have
if
to
you
apply to
you
them.
decide this tonight, it's not gonna happen overnight. It won't be tomorrow
Yeah.
that something's flying.
You
It's
have to
gonna
give
be,
them over 30 days
yeah,
notice.
you have to give them 30 days notice and stuff like that. So theoretically, I mean, in the meantime, we might hire somebody and get extra people or get more per diem people on and again, would it be tough for the 28 days? Absolutely. It's gonna be, especially being down, but
And losing
know.
you out of the rotation loses a paramedic, right?
correct. Well, I'll be there 25 hours a week, that's all.
I know, but it
But,
loses
yes.
you out of the 40-hour
Correct.
permit.
It
So we're down, at that point, a paramedic,
Yep.
which could in turn increase your paramedic intercepts and everything else, right?
That is correct. Yep.
So could you define that for me, the paramedic intercepts?
Oh,
So when we have a EMS call and it requires a paramedic level, usually either for pain control or some type of heart issue, cardiac issue, arrhythmia, if we do not have a paramedic that's either on duty or in town that's off duty, we call for a paramedic intercept. And if we get, say, like Concord Fire comes down and they give us they give a medic and they hop on board and they do treatment, that they charge the town $500, I think it is, or maybe a little
it's
bit
either 5 or 8. I can't
every time we do that, it's $500 for them to hop on.
It's kind of like the mutual aid agreements that we have going on with everything.
Correct, correct. But the paramedic, mutual aid, we don't get charged for versus the paramedic intercepts we do. And there's a separate line item in our budget for intercepts that are on there. We usually spend, I think, about $6,000 a year or so in intercepts. Now granted, more medics you have, the less chance of you're gonna have an intercept. But we have it's nice, that our people who we have working now full-time, when they hear a call, they come back. You know, if our call company doesn't come in, those people come back.
Yeah, but if they're
And-
working 96 hours, they're not gonna wanna do that,
And
right?
working 96 hours,
Probably
probably the
sleeping.
chance of them coming back is probably a little less, because
Yeah.
I'm sure they want to be with their family for a few hours here and
Or
there.
get some sleep.
But those are the people who we kind of rely on to take our second calls to fill in when we have bad calls and we need to have extra people on the ambulance or whatever, so. It's our full-time people that come back. We do have call people that do come back, for sure.
All right, so in crayon eating terms for me, So it's gonna be, you have to give them 30 days notice. If we were to vote on it, you'd have to give 30 days notice to the state for the pension issues. Then you'd be off for 28 days, for which we would need a new interim chief.
Correct.
Okay. And could could the interim chief be from somebody within our group already, or should that come from somebody outside?
Workload notwithstanding.
Yeah, right, the workload. It really, I'm not sure that we have anyone that's internally qualified
Okay.
to take over that position.
Whether they're the full-time or per diems or...
Correct.
Okay,
I would maybe even try to reach out to our mutual aid partners and see, I don't know what could be done with that either, but I would almost say that a professional organization like MRI or something, Goffstown, for instance, had that for a little while before they had their chief in there, which the MRI chief ended up staying as being the chief, but they had a person come in just for a little while, similar to Chris Olson. Chris Olson came in, though, to mentor me and to go through the fire department and get everything kind of straightened out. So, but I think that would be a good resource for you, or at least to ask them. They would probably be able to point you in the right direction with that.
What else do you want to know?
Looks like still number one is
Right.
the interim chief become the part-time chief, and then the rest of the wheels start spinning.
Right.
Yeah, it all cascades from that decision.
Once we have that position, we can, have that, I would think it'd be our decision. We could have that probationary period, we could have that, review period, even if it's in 6 months, not next year. But once we put a name in that slot, you know what I mean? And if we are not happy with whoever we picked in a certain amount of time, we can look from there. But I think we need to put somebody there, or tell somebody they have the position, My, I guess I'll quit going around the table. My feeling be to have Chief Rourke continue his duties, but to make him the actual part-time chief, and get the process started, and then when he comes back, be on the, just like any other new employee, be on the probation and reviews, and just like any other employee for the town. But he's been there, he's a familiar face, and I just think to start all over is gonna just be more months down the road, is my feeling, and I don't know whether we're just gonna keep losing more people.
I'm just guessing we're somewhere around the 6-month time frame already since we started this. And if you go all the way back to when Chief Vizina retired, we're almost at the 2-year mark.
Right. Right, and that's probably a lot of fault, this board is not looking a little further ahead, but like I say, the integration with it, and Board of Fire Wards is just this is where we're at anyway. And there was talk of full-time chief up until March, so we didn't know that either until we decided to take that off the table, so. not to put all the blame on us, but at any rate, this is where we are, and, you know, we kicked the can down the road with the road agent for a little while, and it's kind of similar thing, the other people in there wanted to know. If he was the boss, somebody else would be the boss, people like to know, I guess, who the boss is. They like him, they don't like him, they like to know who it is, I guess. And,
A big part of your day.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Did anyone look over the MRI information? Wasn't
Yeah.
much there to really look at. Outside of interim chief Rourke was, you know, by numbers, the top pick, so.
right. I'm not gonna say I'd always be the one to vote to spend money on them to do town's research for us all the time, but we did do it for that, and we did spend the money, and I just, you know,
Yeah. I don't know the exact amount, but my wild guess is it's somewhere around $65,000 we spent between their search, Chief Olson coming on board, the amount of time paying Mark and Olson at the same time. So it's somewhere around that.
It's probably a little higher, because I think one of the emails I shared with you was they gave a quote of like 50-something for the interim chief, and then there
Okay.
was $12,000 spent in the searches and the interim
Okay.
chief.
So it's
I think
even
it
more
was
than that.
12,000.
For that kind of money, I would have expected a whole lot more.
you would've, right? And I guess one personal aspect, this was a dump truck driver and excavator operator, and I thought I might know better than MRI, maybe would put my own 2 cents in, but I don't know better than them on the fire chief thing, so when we paid money for that, so who am I to say they're right or wrong, I guess. That's what the town wished to do at that time. The board must have voted to do that, yeah.
4 to 5 words.
Board of Fire, selectmen didn't have no say on voting to do that.
No, because they had the financial,
Right, that's right.
responsibilities.
I asked that question last time.
I think that was made clear to us, that was, they had the financial responsibility.
Right, and that's how it was structured then, I guess. So.
I think one thing's for sure, if we do choose to have interim chief Rourke as the part-time chief, that being said, we would definitely have to get a plan going on how that transition's gonna take place, because it sounds like it's gonna be a little messy. So we wanna have our ducks lined up and make sure it's gonna be as smooth as possible.
Thank you.
Having that period of time with the state of New Hampshire, the third, you know, like Naomi was saying, you know, you just can't say I'm retiring today and tomorrow's that. So having that time, I think that buys at least, I would say at least a month, if not a month and a half, possibly, to kind of look to see where you can go with that, or where we could get somebody, or.
It's just my understanding when you call them to make an appointment, they need to know the date you're looking at. That's,
Yeah,
what I've been
you can almost
told.
set the date of when you're
right,
gonna
and then
retire, so.
they make an appointment to sit with you first.
Mhm.
And then you're really 30 days from after your appointment with them, because they have to plan as well for the 30-day out to start paying. So that's why they want 30 days after they meet with them.
It
Yeah,
could
so
be a
just-
couple, 3 months.
Yeah, I was
before
gonna say, in
By
just
time you-
theoretically, though, we could say
by time you
3
call.
months from now is when
Right.
we would want that to
'Cause he could
start.
call
to allow
tomorrow.
that to
Exactly, so
trickle
there,
through.
it's not gonna be like an overnight thing,
Right,
there is gonna
right.
be some, I think, some time to plan, which will behoove us to use that time and.
Right, but you
and
could
come
call
up with something.
tomorrow and they could say, we can't see you till
Correct.
June. You know what I mean? And then from there, they'll sit down with him. But they need to know to plan, because they're gonna start cutting his check to them, and they need to know that.
Yeah.
So what I've learned from others that have done this is you don't make your appointment, you make your appointment at their leisure, and then you set 30 days from there, once you sit down with them. So if he calls tomorrow morning, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what their busy schedule is. So you're right, it's gonna be a few.
It's gonna be a little bit of time.
Yeah. Heard from this end of the table, how about this one?
I guess that was the first of my two questions. And really, my question was, should we try and find somebody first before saying, like, don't try and do them in parallel?
Meaning a new interim,
Yeah.
find somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to avoid putting ourselves in a rushed position when we don't know what the timeline is for when he would, be taking a break.
I think that's a good idea.
So it'd be find somebody, and then my other question, and if you want to stay on this topic, we'll stay here, but my other question was, how much money are we talking about? Like, do you already have an assumption in mind? Is it sticking with what the previous pay rate was?
Yeah, I couldn't find anything in the minutes that indicated that you were offered a salary, were you?
I was never offered anything. We're starting at total ground zero.
Okay.
Because there was the assumption of whether we were gonna be going the part-time or a full-time chief, which definitely is different salaries there and
Yeah,
stuff,
excellent point.
so.
Okay. The job rec had a salary range in it,
Yep.
and I believe that was 67.5 to 72.
Yep. Do we have money for that? That's my first question, probably, but
Get it from somewhere,
I've heard that before.
raise the rate on the sugar and spice.
The budget now still reflects what Chief Azina was getting paid 2 years ago. And that's kind of the figure that I was going to work on.
You know what that number is, since we don't have it in front of us?
Actually,
I thought he was somewhere between 62 and 65, but I don't, to be honest. Under 70, I thought, I guess I should say.
73,261,
Is that what he made, yeah?
and that was 2 years ago.
Okay, that's answered.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're up. Thoughts?
I think I have most of my questions already answered.
What do you think we should do?
I think, I don't know, we need to make a certain motion, but I think we should, if we move, all right, I'll put it this way, I think we should move forward with filling our keep wanting to call it a full-time, making the full-time, but I know it's a
Yeah,
part-time.
It might be better if we refer to it as remove the acting designation. That might be clear. Full-time, versus part-time. It's just remove the acting
Right.
for the part-time fire chief.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I think, and I think there's probably more benefit in looking for a new interim chief first, at least get that started as quickly as possible. Then, like I said, that way we're not rushing for an arbitrary deadline. However, we still need to make a decision, and I think making that decision with removing the acting designation of our part-time chief would be the more beneficial route to take.
Okay.
Well, can we, or does that force your hand?
Who are you
I think you
asking?
can-
Does it force his
Art?
hand? Yeah.
He's asking you a question.
So if we decided to leave, if we decided to put you in that position,
Correct.
could we have time to look for somebody to fill that for the 28 days before?
I
where
won't
does
know
that
that
put with
until I
us?
talk to the retirement board, like Naomi was saying, if they set a date. Or,
Or could you wait
if
with-
James was said, that probably find someone, and Salem said the same thing, try to like reach out
Well, that's what I mean,
I'll
before
state
you,
what I'm doing right now.
That's what I'm like,
and-
yeah.
And you guys could start reaching out and seeing what you want to do as far as getting someone in
If we
position,
acti-
because I think that would be the best
we
way to
actively
go.
look for somebody, you're happy staying where, as long as you know that now this is your spot.
Yep.
That you gave us a minute to try to find someone.
Yeah. No, I think that's.
That was your question?
I think that's fair.
That
I
raised the
guess-
question for me.
I guess that would be the better way of phrasing it, yes, do we need to, do we need to make something official in his position now?
I think so.
So that we can then start the ball rolling with the understanding that we're not gonna make the position.
Yeah, I think what we have is an open blank for what is the effective date.
Right, right,
I think that's what I'm hearing everybody say.
right. That's how I envision it, yeah.
Okay.
So with the interim, the other interim chief, are we gonna want some lap time where they, a couple weeks with you, or, I mean, obviously,
I would think, I would think a week or possibly two, I would even say two is pushing it, because it's not, they're not coming in to take over.
Right.
All the other stuff, they're not coming in to take over policy stuff or whatever, they're more or less there just to, work with Beth and getting through the bills that come in and sign the stuff and bring them up to speed on what we're doing. And that'd be it, handle the payroll stuff or on-scene stuff.
I would see it beneficial, 2-week overlap.
I'll just remember, you
Yeah,
have to.
for
you have to-
sure, there is, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't walk in one day and say, here you go, here's the keys to the cruiser.
We can.
Well, that
Yeah.
You're not gonna work too well.
wouldn't be good for that person coming in, nor fair. But I do think, again, that finding someone, or at least getting that process started before I go into any position, I think would be the best route to go.
And you said you did have someone you can refer,
I can ask, it's kind of like
whatever
a
contacts we
a
can
Hail
get.
Mary shot. But again, if that doesn't work, or if they say, hey, I'll do that, then I'll let you guys handle that. They can
Right.
come to you guys and
That's all
talk.
we're looking for. If you have any contacts, anyone that know of.
But if that doesn't go through, again, I would probably reach out to MRI.
Yeah.
Even if you don't go through them, at least they would be a good contact to start with, to maybe
We-
point
we
you
would
in the
probably
right
do-
direction.
Yeah, we'd probably do both,
So,
I think the first thing was to find out his date, so we've got some time frame, right?
Oh,
He's gonna have to
yeah.
make a phone call to see when they could see him, and then we could backfill from there, couldn't we?
Well, do we
I'm
wanna-
thinking tonight we need to say, this is the decision and have a formal vote on that, but with the effective date to be agreed upon next week after he's contacted
Okay,
them.
that's fine.
Is that,
Yeah, we just need to build the
I would
timeframe
rather
into-
document what we decide tonight.
Absolutely.
And that way we're not having a
'Cause he can make
whole
the phone
another hour
call and see
discussion
what the
next
date
week.
availability is and talk with somebody at both the retirement as well as his contacts, as David said. So then we could,
Yeah.
But shouldn't we find a temporary interim chief before he starts that clock?
I think we can put the effective date TBD.
Right, but what you were just saying was, if he made 2 phone calls before we meet again next week, and the state of New Hampshire says, yeah, come on in, and we don't have somebody, that's bad.
I'm just thinking of documenting the decision tonight. If you
Yeah.
guys want to put that off for a week, we told him we were going to do it tonight.
Well, I'm also
So-
thinking to remove one of the variables that's been
Yeah.
floating out there. If we're in agreement that this is the way we want to go, then, with our, who our chief is going to be moving forward, then I think we should at least nail that one down, rather than just say, well, another promise, without anything in writing. Promises are.
Yeah, it's not a full answer.
Yeah, my point is just, don't start the clock until we have somebody.
Right.
I could call the state and just see, kind of gauge where they're at. I can
Yeah.
just ask them how far. Now, that doesn't mean that 15 people could retire tomorrow from
Right.
DOT or something. So,
Yeah, it's worth asking the question. I mean,
I think
without
that they-
saying I'm coming in tomorrow to say, hey, how
Correct.
I wanted to meet with you.
Right.
But
Right.
Yeah, I think we're kind of expecting it's gonna be somewhere in the 3-month range. Is that what we're feeling?
Once the whole process is done, yeah, it's gonna be in, I would say, in that range, you know?
I mean, when you part ways for 28 days,
Yeah,
that would be
it's-
in about 3 months?
Yep.
Yeah,
2 to 3.
so, yeah, if you just call and gauge it, then we can kind of have an expectation
And I could
of,
have that, I could get that, I could email that to you if you wanted to, I mean.
yeah, just email it to the
necessarily
board.
don't have to wait until, well, either.
We can't act on it until the next time we meet anyway, but yeah, if we can get the information, that'd
Okay.
be great.
I guess I'm
Yeah, I'm not
skittish,
sure that
I'm
we-
skittish about
yeah.
a vote because I'd hate for like the state to say, well, hold on a minute. We see, it would be in a video, be in the minutes that this is happening, but you're still working and like, can we just leave it as consensus for a week, make some phone calls and come back and like make it official?
Can we just vote on the intent is to do this, or does that, we're not locking it in, but
That's
we're
why I
not.
say, that's why I say consensus.
Yeah.
Well, consensus isn't a vote, so,
Right.
yeah, just,
I definitely think we can vote if we're gonna have him be in that spot or not. And then we can,
Salem's concern is that, does that start his 28 days now? If I can rephrase what
Yeah,
you're
if the
saying.
state, if the state comes in and says, well, wait a minute,
Right.
you're telling me you're still
Yeah.
working, but you're not working, but you're gonna have this job, like, what does that do?
if he doesn't retire, then
Right, he's gotta set
I
the
think,
date
I
that,
think, like you guys said, that, I think like you guys said, if the date is to be determined, it's not like you're putting it off for 3 months, it's a week or a couple of weeks that we should know where we're going, what direction we're going.
yeah, if
the only thing in question is your expected date of retirement. That's the only thing in question at
Right,
this
yeah,
point.
and I won't know that
And
until,
aligning that with an interim.
until, I mean,
Yes.
that's the unknown, the true unknown. I mean, like Naomi said, they could say, hey, we have a spot for you in the end of May to come on in. So then I'm gone all of June and come back in July, for that matter, you know, I mean,
I guess that's also the question, is that meeting the start of your 30-day notice, or that's just, you're gonna come in, and then you're gonna say, well, this is when I want to, then you get to set the date.
well, I think when I meet with them, that's that question, or I can ask that question, I guess, when I call them tomorrow. I can ask them that question.
you don't do anything till you sign the paper.
Exactly, so,
mean, you call and get all
and
the
actually you have, I forgot how many, I think, I mean, you could really retract your paperwork all the way up, I think, in a
I
week
think, I've
before.
heard you can do it once,
Yeah, they'll
And
let
it's
you,
up
they'll let
until-
you pull your paper but work back
just once,
and say, no, I was just kidding, I don't wanna retire.
And there's a penalty for it.
there is.
I still don't see
The first
why,
time is
still don't see why we
the first
couldn't
time
say, you know, if we're gonna choose him, say, you got the job and
Date to be determined.
we will, they
Start date.
determine and we'll start looking for in 28-day interim chief and hopefully we get a name and then you'll sign the papers. I mean, calling the phone and asking doesn't mean that you are doing it. I mean,
Correct.
I've known plenty of people that's looked into the retirement and how it's gonna work a couple of years before they retired, so they understand it. I mean, there's, cause he picks it up and says tomorrow, I'm thinking about it, what's the process, doesn't mean that day after tomorrow, that he's locked into it then.
I started when I was 18.
Thinking about retiring?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah. And I was 4 years ahead of plan in the end, so it all worked. You're the one that had
I'm
the
still
concern.
skittish, but,
Yeah.
Well, if we,
That's why I keep looking over here.
yeah,
can we make it with a, even just not saying to be determined, but to, start date within 90 days or something like that, subject to the finding of a new interim chief and the process of the full
Right, I mean,
retirement process.
I think we're on the same page there, but then it's, what happens if, if you make a phone call that says, hey, I'm thinking about this, I just don't wanna put ourselves in a bind.
I
by
think your
forcing
concern
ourselves
is that if
to
we,
make
if
a
we
decision
offer the
right now,
job,
when we're
does
all
that,
pretty much on the same page.
does that make it that he has to retire effective immediately?
Right.
That's, I think, the crux of your question.
In the eyes of the state of New
Right.
Hampshire. Right,
Right.
That
yes.
answer is no. Just throughout my career, I have called the retirement board a bunch of times. I'm past my 20 years. I had to do 20 years. I'm past that, so I can retire anytime. I'm vested. And I have called the state a bunch of times to see what my monthly benefit would be through the state and how much insurance and everything else like that is. So again, until you sit down and you sign that paper to say, I'm retiring today, and puts the ball in motion, I could call and ask questions, and that doesn't affect anything, really.
So let's say you tell them, let's say you're gonna say 3 months is the date that you're gonna retire, and we don't have everything together at that point, we haven't found an interim chief working on it, and it'll be another month. Can you roll that another month, do you know? And it's not pulling it.
I can ask that question. I could have all my paperwork done, and pretty much be, you tell me, if it's a hard time trying to get somebody, or we can't find somebody, and we have to put it off a month, and I have to keep working in the capacity that I'm working now, then I guess so be it,
I think that's what the worry is at this point, right? We're not gonna have everything together, or we're gonna say, yeah, I'm retiring, and then, yeah, just
I
kidding.
mean, I guess, and my apologies for keep talking about MRI, but it's the only place that I know that does police, fire, town administrators, school people,
No, it was-
principals, but it's almost like if you call them up and say, I need a fire chief, it's like, okay, here you go. I would think it would be pretty easy. They have people who do that. That's their job, that's their business, is to
Yeah, I
have
think it only
people-
took him a couple weeks to get Olson in here
Right,
for a 6-month assignment.
So, it might even be Chief Olson. They might call him and say, hey, come back. He knows the whole deal. He knows everybody here or whatever, come back for 28 days. But that's their business, is to have people on deck waiting to go in to help municipalities deal with everything, whether it be police, fire,
Yep.
whatever. So it might not be as hard, but I don't know any other company. There might be other companies out there that do that.
Do we know any others?
I don't, but I'm more familiar with MRI because they do multiple, they have fill-ins, they do all your, they did it for the police chief, we've done it twice, with them. They do other towns. I honestly don't know of another company.
Right.
It'd be ideal if we could pick up a mutual aid partner and say, hey, could you fill in and help us for 28 days?
That would be awesome.
That would be ideal.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Goffstown's full-time, right? New Boston's part-time.
Chief Rachel's full.
Oh, he's full-time, okay.
I think that was recently,
It is.
yeah.
Okay. I just was thinking it'd be easier for a partner, but
They have a couple of other people that,
they have assistant chiefs, right?
yeah,
New
pile
Boston,
on it.
yeah. I mean, I could call MRI and ask him,
One of them's very good, so, yeah, it'd be worth,
yeah,
Assistant Chief's very good down there, he's part-time.
okay. It's
Cliff?
just,
No, Brian,
Oh, yep.
I mean, I don't know, he's interested, never talked to him about it at all, but he's a good guy.
Yep, he is. Yep.
it would just be a matter of keeping us moving forward in the 28 days.
Correct. It's not,
Yeah.
be the basics, pretty much.
All right, where does that leave us?
Yeah, I was just, I hear that, there's still concern about the clock starting and not having an interim in place in another week might help us put that plan together.
That would make me feel a lot better. If we at least knew, hey, you know, if you called somebody and, oh, heck yeah, or we, you know, mutual aid and everybody's a no, and then we need to start heading down MRI or equivalent, well, what does that do? I would feel better.
Any objections to that?
Yep, because we told him we were gonna make a decision tonight, last week, 2 weeks ago.
What's your
So I
opinion?
move that we hire Chief Rourke as the part-time fire chief, with an indefinite start date.
And, salary?
Starting salary at 73,000. That's what the last part-time chief made, I guess, according to, we just heard, and that's 2 years old, so that would be a hair under what that gentleman would be making if he was still here.
The job rec had a cap of 72, does that matter? Range,
I guess I don't know the answer to that.
I'm sorry?
I guess I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, does that matter?
That's up to you guys, because that was last year's ad, right? When they did it a year ago.
Yeah.
The budget amount is 73,261.
Yeah, I just don't wanna,
Chief
you know,
Rosino's
be outside of what we're supposed to do.
No, I mean, that was the advertisement, yes, but it was a
Okay.
year ago when these guys looked at that position, when those people applied. You can't, I would say you couldn't go over your budget, which is $73,261,
Right.
because that's what's in that line.
No, I was just concerned about the job posting.
Yeah, I haven't posted a new one, so that would have been a year old.
And before you mentioned a probationary period, did you wanna add that in, or?
Oh, it's up to you guys, that was just kinda,
Do we have a
Me too.
standard period for a new hire?
was ever written down anywhere, I always said 6 months, but I don't know if that's
The
technically written down,
personnel
is it?
policy talks about 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay,
Of
so that's
probation.
standard for our
Yes.
personnel policy?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So Benji has made a motion to hire Chief Mark Rourke in a non-acting capacity as a part-time fire chief at 73,000 with an indefinite TBD start date pending retirement and the interim chief during his 28-day off period. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Given my earlier concerns, I'm gonna abstain.
Okay.
I feel like I know that you're getting drug along just like we did for Jason, but I feel like there's still some unanswered questions that I'd rather have been answered, so.
Other questions?
Specifically the ones where we talked about, hey, you know, y'all could go out, make some phone calls, come back, and we could know more about having a temporary replacement before making this decision right now.
So the questions that the only questions that you have really are based upon like the retirement end of
Yeah.
things? Okay, and the interim chief coming in for the
Sure.
28 days? Okay.
I think we're making a job offer to him, and now he has to decide how he can exit his existing position, and then when he can start with us as the part-time chief.
And us to cover that period where he's gone.
Understood, but, yeah.
Yeah, and I would ask that you give a reasonable amount of, time, or even maybe help if you got a couple names of finding your 28-day, let's call it a replacement, whatever, you know what I mean? Since you know people, but you'll work with us. If you call tomorrow to inquire and say your time, and says, I get you a day after tomorrow, say, no, I'm just asking, don't pull that trigger tomorrow, I guess, I would ask
Absolutely
you
not.
that, you know? Because I believe, I understand that that's one of Salem's concerns, and I do, bothers me a little bit, but I don't think it's a big deal, and we did kind of tell everybody we were gonna make some sort of decision, so that wasn't to be disrespectful to Salem or anybody else on the board, we just,
Do we want to state a term no less than 2 months?
In terms of,
In terms of him actually retiring? With that,
we don't know what the state's gonna give him for a retirement date. They may say we can't even talk to you till June.
right, but at no less than 2 months, so.
No less
If
than.
it's any further out, it's fine. That'll give us plenty of time to align everything that has to be aligned.
Yeah, that'd be better.
I don't think it's gonna
I was
happen
personally
before
thinking
that
3 months,
anyway.
but
3?
it gives us plenty of time to actually have the person in here. But
How do you
That's-
feel about that?
I think, yeah, I think that 2 months would be adequate. And again, I mean, I'm certainly, I've been in this fight for long enough. I'm certainly not gonna clamor over if there's another month that has to go by, that, you know, if there's someone that comes into here and says, well, I could start this date or whatever, then I'll work around that. I'm not, you know, it would just be, like Benji said, just kinda at least solidified tonight that I have the job. But, you know,
Just
I can assure you, I'm not gonna be acting without you guys knowing what's going on first, and have your input and what you guys want to do and how you guys come along, because that's gonna be on you guys as far as trying to do the interim person for the 28 days or whatever, so.
I don't know if you heard Chair Matthews, when you were getting up, she did mention she might feel a little better at 3 months. Do you have
he had
any
said 2, and I said maybe it's 3.
That's fine too. If that's what you guys
Good.
wanna do, that's fine too.
All right.
is that an up to, or just a firm 3, or
No less than.
no less than, okay. Yeah, I don't have any qualms one way or the other about whatever you guys want for timelines. I'd like to think we could find, you know, hopefully find somebody, say, yeah, we'll do that, or MRI, and move forward. We don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing would be to try to get someone from a mutual aid partner or something like that. But,
How do you feel about that?
I think it's better, but I still think it's the wrong order,
Okay.
so. I am where I am.
All right. So I believe we have a motion, and it has been seconded. We've had discussion. Any further discussion? Okay. Just to restate the motion, it's to remove the acting from chief work at 73K with a start date TBD, based on his discussion with the state board. And hopefully you can get us an answer next week on that.
absolutely.
Okay. All right, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Stay.
Okay. All right. Well, chief, I'll hopefully get a date from you soon.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for bearing with us.
Okay.
Hopefully, we'll get some answers real quick and
Yep,
be able
no
to
problem at
put
all.
a
Thank
solid
you.
plan.
I appreciate the vote tonight, I really do. It's gonna move the department forward.
Well, they're all valued, every one of
Good.
you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, good things are to come, so. And I'll get a hold of the state tomorrow, and I'll have that information for you guys next week.
Yeah, or if you have anything before that, if you want to send it to
Yeah, I
Naomi,
could
she
send it to
can.
Naomi and she could send it
Yeah, and that
out to
way
you
we'll at least
guys.
have some advance to be able to
Yep, yep, paw through it,
start thinking.
absolutely.
That would be appreciated. All right, so until we have a start date, I don't know that we can sign any paperwork, though. Is that
That's fine.
correct? Okay,
I would say you wouldn't.
we wouldn't
Yeah,
want to,
no.
yeah.
You're
Okay.
gonna want something more concrete
Yep.
than TBD.
Yep, I agree. Okay.
Anything else?
I'm exhausted, I don't know about you. So, and I'm not working 24-hour shifts like you guys are, so.
I'll be there tomorrow,
7:00?
7 AM.
Yeah.
By all means, feel free to stop by the station.
I'm gonna come see the new ambulance.
You should. I encourage every one of you guys to stop down there and.
I
and
will
check
try and
things
do
out.
that tomorrow.
Check things out. Matter of fact, I'll be working with a per diem person tomorrow for 24 hours.
Okay,
And actually, that per diem person was a former employee, Trevor.
very good.
So I will be working with him tomorrow. But yes, stop down. Coffee's usually pretty fresh.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, next on the agenda is manifest. I'd like to move that we order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated April 18th, 2024, as included in the following manifest. Payroll, $76,594.72. Accounts payable, $49,176.06. Supplemental accounts payable, $4,089.68. John Stark accounts payable, $250,000, and Ware School accounts payable, $500,000, for a total of $879,860.46. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. Motion passes 5-0. Oh. And that down. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
There was one set of minutes, that was your lengthy meeting. She had to do them twice because with the power outage, she lost the first batch.
Oh, geez.
So she had to do the 3 hours a second time.
Oh, geez. Well, I can confess that I have not looked at them at all, but if everyone else has, we can certainly move forward with it.
I've looked at them, saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things change.
Okay, go ahead.
Line 52, jury is spelled wrong. 81, past, should be past, like chronological past.
PST?
Yep. I'm gonna skip one for a second, go down to the easy ones. 142, crack the seal, I think it should be seal the cracks. And 294 Matthews is spelled wrong.
What was that last one?
294 Matthews is spelled wrong. And then I'm gonna back up a bit to 101 through 103, because I actually didn't finish my notes. As written, it says, Selectman Bloom said he does not think they should be taking people's money because they failed to give the town money. It's not very eloquent. And I was not being eloquent, and continue that right now. And so I was trying to come up with like an actual summary for what I was trying to convey without, like, while still sticking to minutes quality sentence there. What I was trying to get, so we were talking about the deeds, and what I was trying to say was, okay, people owe us money for sure, and we pay,
In
we take,
taxes.
yep, we take that money out of the sale of the property, sure. We take, and then it was the admin fee. I think there's a reasonable admin fee to be taken, and my point was just I just want to make sure that we don't ever make that unreasonable. like, gouge people. And my point being, just because they didn't pay us money, we shouldn't be taking their money, which was two different pots of money there. One, the one that they definitely owe us, and the other one that the courts haven't really decided how much you can or can't take.
So I think all you're asking is to ensure that the administration fee is reasonable.
Yep. And I think, yeah, maybe if everyone is okay with that summary of it, that is what I was trying to get across. So maybe Selectman Bloom said he thinks the administration fee should be reasonable.
And you're not saying it's not, you're just saying that it
No,
should be.
I just want to make sure that like, whatever we do,
Right.
To get ahead of it.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that you're not saying it is unreasonable.
Correct.
Yeah.
So do you want to strike the he all the way down to eloquent?
Yes.
So Selectman Bloom said that the admin fee should be reasonable.
Yes. Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. Anyone else have changes?
Yeah, line 41's a little awkward. I think it should be whether or not there's a variance is required, and then there should probably be a period after that. And there should be, is there any sound legal finding? And there should be a question mark after case.
Okay.
You got line 72 and 75.
Okay.
Mr. Legender's name is misspelled. Should be Gendre.
Oh, instead of the other, yeah.
Leave 219. Should be Bauer, B-A-U-E-R, not Bo.
What was that again, BR?
B-A-U-E-R,
Is that the name of the compressor?
the compressor company.
Yeah, yeah.
And then 225 says Bauer, and it should be the same, B-A-U-E-R.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Any other changes? Okay. I move that we accept the minutes from April 1st as amended this evening. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Any opposed? Abstain? I'll abstain since I haven't reviewed them. So, motion passes. And we don't have the 4-8 yet, correct?
I do not.
Okay.
So I tried another attempt at the report. Hopefully it's a little bit better. I made that third column for kind of an estimation completion.
Yep.
Trying to set it up so it's not that heavy, and we realized that it's an estimated completion. Couple things at the very top for tonight. The Sugar and Spice lease, I thought we would put on for the 22nd after I check with Primex, and make the correction. My question to you would be, the correction would be the annual, sorry,
What is that?
on the second page,
Financial aid?
it says the lessee shall provide the lessor with a copy of the financial aid report annually to confirm nonprofit status. Would that be something you would go with?
I don't think we need the financial aid report at all. We just need them to confirm the
Okay.
nonprofit status.
Okay, so I can fix that, but I also have to check with Primex on the property damage, so
Yep.
I'll,
Yeah, and if they say 100's fine,
okay.
100's fine. If they say no, it really should be 500, then
Yeah, and so the plan,
have to
in my
update it.
column, I put, April 22nd, 2024. We already did the operation policy, I'll put that up Wednesday morning. Integration, are we done with integration, or is that just like the tip
no,
of the
we're
iceberg?
not, we're not anywhere near done with integration.
all
We,
right.
we have to have the policies finished. That's,
Yes.
a housekeeping thing. And then now that, next week, hopefully we'll have a date and we can start then, how do we get to that date?
Okay.
All the,
so we'll
all
leave
the
that on
items that
there.
are gonna have to go into that.
Okay. Center Square, I'll fill out the form and go to Mildred Hall. I think they'll meet sometime in May. I don't know exactly. They have to get together for a quorum. I did email late in the afternoon the 2024 building permits. I don't know if you saw it. Katie did January on one, February on one, March on one, and then she did April, and then each week she'll add to the April. Just if you don't like the format, please let me know. We want more information, just let me know. I know it was late this afternoon.
Is there, looked like some of the colors were darker?
Well, she made the colors for a week at a time. She thought it might be
okay.
easier for you to read.
Nope, I was just
So-
wondering what they.
No,
Yeah,
it's
she
not,
did,
so-
if you look at
Yeah.
the week, she just did it
Yeah.
that way.
Well, for me, it's not any easier, so don't spend any time
Okay.
color coding it.
Is-
All right. No, the colors were just to distinguish one week from another.
Oh, okay.
What's the building inspector's?
Yeah, at least
Oh,
after
Jack.
4, for sure.
What,
Yeah.
is Jack able to keep up with everything, or we?
He's been able to do inspections. I wish we would get more people to apply.
I was gonna ask, how are we doing? One?
Still one.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you wanna bring next week what we have?
I was gonna ask you that. You want me to bring the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do,
Or if we have any more.
Do we have any that
Well,
we haven't gotten to, or he's not going to look at?
Oh, you're talking Jack, sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
No,
We're
no, I
mixing.
was,
I
not
apologize,
that I'm
my
aware
fault.
of, but I will talk to him Wednesday. I have talked with him on Friday. He's been keeping up,
Okay.
but he's also got a personal situation going on, so.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so next, so the building, do you want me to bring him next week?
Well, tentatively, we have to look at what all's on the agenda for next week. I
Yeah.
think we might wanna.
I had put that for May of 2024, because you had 2 more weeks in April, so I figured if we could run for another 2 weeks, you only have one, the quantity of one is 1. That's just tentative, though.
I mean, is it worth letting that one person know?
I can reach out
like,
to him.
Received, but we're looking to do final interviews in May?
Okay.
Or not, maybe just interviews in May, something like that.
Yep. No, I can certainly reach out and tell him that. So I'm gonna leave it kind of alone at the bottom. Some of them are in double. I'm just trying to get a format that everybody is function and like it. East Road, I did have a conversation with town council. She said when she left, it was, are we gonna do mediation with them, or did we package it to go to the judge? She remembered we were gonna try mediation.
Right, but there were 2 actions that I believe we left, there were 2 actions. And one of them was town council to answer, and the other one was having to do with Bolton deed.
Okay, well, that's
Do you remember
not-
those?
Okay, well, that's not what she had said she had left with, but that's okay. So, one was, excuse you,
Bless you.
one was to look at the Bolton deed,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, what was the other one?
Is that something we should talk about in non-public?
Yeah, I don't think
briefly?
I want to say right now.
Okay, all right, well, we can do that, because just to let you know, while you were sitting here, the gentleman that was gonna come in for your exit interview can't make it tonight, his
Oh, okay.
schedule
Yeah,
got,
I thought you
yeah.
said he would be here at 8:30.
his schedule got messed up, so he's gonna let me know what his new schedule looks like, and we'll
Okay.
conduct those. I also, late in the afternoon, mailed you the RFP for lawn care service.
Yeah, and we want to mesh those into one.
You do.
Right, I'm just confirming.
We've never done, we've
Right.
done 3 separate ones.
Yeah, but we want to mesh them all into one.
No, what,
Well, the only reason is you've got cemeteries, was always separate because not everybody bids on
Oh, okay.
the cemeteries, because that's terribly labor expensive, because you can't take your ride lawnmower and do it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of the weed whacker and things like that, because, as you heard earlier, the condition of the cemeteries. So I don't care that we integrate the fire, and, because it is municipal, fire with municipal, but I think the cemeteries were always kept separate in
Okay.
case the event that you have.
Appreciate that.
Sometime have trustees.
yeah, I definitely think we want to keep them off. 'cause
So we
had a
can,
hard
we can
time-
integrate the 2 to 1, if that's what you guys want. I did send them separate, because that's what we've always done.
That's another one. I didn't check past 4:30. So.
No, no,
I
that's,
saw it was sitting there when I looked a minute ago, but I haven't looked at it.
yeah, and then, so we can integrate those together. Let me make myself a note. Integrate fire and community. Appointments and reappointments, I have had 4 people. Do you want me to just keep the list going? Because we did post it on 4/4, 2 weeks would be 4/18. Do you want to do them, my question to you is, do you want to do the appointments/reappointments on 4/22? or we'll answer that after you see what you got on 422. You've got four new people wanting to get on,
Okay,
various, actually, three that you would deal with, because one's a finance member.
okay.
So that would have to go to the moderator anyway. It's not your to reappoint.
Those are people that are not currently on
Not
boards
currently on,
that said we would like to volunteer.
Yes.
Okay.
And three of them did, zoning board as first. One gentleman put 3 committees, and I asked him to rank,
Oh.
just in case. So, he ranked, zoning board, finance committee, and then conservation. So the zoning board would come to you, again, moderate, the other would go to the moderator. But I asked him to rank, and he did reply back that that's the rank he'd like.
Okay.
Then I had 2 just for zoning board. So it was my understanding that we posted on 4/4, we were gonna let it run 2 weeks, which would be 4/18. That would bring us to inviting them in on 4/22, if that's where we want to move. And I know we talked about it earlier, is face-to-face. That's gonna take a little bit of time, because there's several.
Yeah, this is kind of new to me, and I think this whole advertising thing is new to all 5 of us, or 6 of us here. So I'm trying to think through the new folks. They haven't gone to a meeting yet,
No.
and they haven't talked to the chair of that subcommittee to see if they want to recommend them to us. I mean, obviously, we have the appointment final say, but I think it would be nice to have some kind of, at least, conversation there. Not saying that we just carte blanche take the recommendations. But, so is 422,
Wouldn't be acceptable.
knowing that we're
It wouldn't be acceptable
already-
for your zoning board,
Yeah.
because the zoning board's next
Right.
meeting is May 7th.
okay,
So they wouldn't be able to, those, particularly the 3 that have zoning board as one, would not be able to make a meeting till May 7th. So absolutely, April 22nd does not work for the ones that I currently have. Not to say that somebody may come in for another meeting, but again, I know Conservation is meeting Friday, but they've got other things already on the agenda. And then Planning Board has moved,
Yeah,
so
they're not
we're
gonna
looking
meet
at
till
May.
May.
Yeah.
but there's no one that said they wanted to go to planning board.
No.
Okay. So I just don't want to rush this, but I also want to be cognizant of the fact that normally the select board has had this done by now. So
Right.
Is it 422 or is it 429?
Well, the ZBA ones that want to be on ZBA can't be
Right.
till after May.
Right.
But you still have cable.
We can still do all the
Conservation.
others, yeah.
Cable conservation, I have not had a soul, which I did find information. I was looking for something for the Ethics Committee, and it was done the same year in 2006. The agricultural was set up for 5 regular and 5 alternates.
Okay.
That was on town vote,
And we have no,
and we have none. So, I know it just talked about it in the RSA and the vote, but the actual article did say 5, or, I'm sorry, the deliberative session minutes said 5, and then up to 5 alternates. That was behind it, but we have none.
so 422, do we take just the boards that have no other outside interest?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Is it 422 or is it 429?
I guess given that we've only seen 4, I'd almost see about doing another week.
Mm-hmm.
And then that, because that gives us a chance to get more people to volunteer, and to get people, make sure people are aware that they have to go to meetings. Because we did publish that document, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I'd say 429.
Okay.
429?
Yep. And without zoning would be in
Zoning
May
would have to be May. Yeah.
because of the 3 new members, 3 new potential volunteers, not new
Would
members.
sit in, and then there is a May application, so they would have a May 7th meeting.
Makes sense.
So
Okay.
we have here Monday after the 7th?
Yeah,
Yeah. I would think yes, which would be...
13.
13th. Okay, so I have 29th and then May 13th is ZBA, and if something else comes in between, we'll have to talk about it. Okay?
Okay.
Then I just kind of tossed everything together and I put together the, kind of your list. And
Yeah, I had a
added them.
question on that after you get done with your statements.
So, I mean, I don't have to read it to you. I mean, I took, and put them there. I did put completed items as a new one, and then I made awareness items kind of with the rest, as it was asked last week. That's the stuff that is prior to when we first started this. Do you see that on the second page? On the bottom, it says awareness items.
Oh, okay.
Completed items are above it. And then the rest I put action items, and I tried to estimate, just to put it on there. The exit interview, you do have 2 for next week. I was hoping to do one tonight, that's 2 of them. One will have to be by phone because he's from South Carolina. So I'm down now to action items to be addressed. I did leave the integration on there. Transfer station permit, I reached out to the 3 people that we all took a walk with. One of them's taking a new job at the state. So, and the other 2 girls I can't reach. I mean, I've tried. I don't know it was the gentleman that moved on to a different division. He emailed me right back and said, sorry, I'm in a different division.
I was hoping you just got his dad.
Yeah, I remember that. I was
True,
like,
I
well,
remember
I
that
wonder if that
conversation
means they're
too.
not gonna get their emails confused anymore.
Right?
So we're still trying to get somebody in.
I'm still trying for the 22nd. I'm trying to be very hopeful because we got to get that started.
Yeah. Are we,
And Jason has some information on landfill cap as well that he'll bring in next week.
I don't remember the guy's name, the guy who said he's moved on. Mark?
Mark?
Did he tell you who took his job, or can you ask?
No, I know they've got 50-something jobs open too, so, yeah. He moved to wastewater for the state.
I can ask a couple people too, and see if I can come up.
Yeah, because I went to the email with those 3 people, and Mark got back to me and said he went to wastewater, but he didn't offer anybody that's filled in.
Yes, if it comes up empty, maybe reach back out, beg him.
Okay. And then, I guess, like I said, I put things down, and I've moved things around a little. I did kind of put April, May, June for some of them. Again, it kind of just took some of the top priorities, Janice, that we had talked about, the fire department integration, transfer station, East Road, and River Road Bridge. I did put the River Road Bridge on the bottom as an ongoing, because that's gonna be on here with every step.
Yep.
The East Road resolution I have put near the top, along with the first 3 that you had there. You see the top says fire department, transfer station, landfill cap, and East Road. Those are on your top priority list. Then if you look at your still must do, the only thing I didn't understand was what is building department funds? I didn't know what that meant.
It's a
Okay.
typo.
Oh.
And to save me from going back through the video, I was hoping that Selectman Pratt could tell me if it was building department processes or building department documentation. I think it was one of those 2.
process?
Process?
And
Yeah, because-
possibly
Yeah,
documentation?
and I have that on here.
Okay.
Where did I put it? Sorry.
Yeah, because
actually, it
I looked
says-
at that and I was like, that's the
Well, I
line
thought
above is
funds, and I
funding.
didn't, so if you go down, you're gonna follow down through, it says, department head signature, that will be completed by next week for everybody. You guys wanted that department head review signature. The deed should be done by the 29th. Building inspector and Flanders Memorial, and it's under the Ware Energy. I just put review building permit process with new CEO hired. That's what that meant, right? Because Mr. Pratt has talked about when the person gets on is to review the process.
Yes.
So it wasn't funds, it was process.
No, it's not funds. The line above it was funds and I must
Yeah,
have,
yeah, I wasn't sure what
Typoed.
funds were.
yeah, I looked at it today and I'm like, that's not right.
I know perambulation, I've shared with Salem a couple, I think Henniker wants to get started, and actually Goffstown has reached out, to see, so I'm gonna share your email again.
Is anybody else interested?
I
Like when I'm-
I need training. I don't know what the process entails. I know it's walking the line, but I don't know much more than that. I don't know how you find the markers or,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got lucky
That
with
kinda-
Dunbarton, that they
Yeah, you
had the
did.
whole thing front to back. So I don't know what the process is when either town, doesn't have a lot of info, so. And I don't know what the situation is with the other towns. Maybe
Yeah.
they
Okay.
have a whole binder.
Sexton position still on here, cable priorities to use in '24. Like I said, I don't think I have to read them to you.
I would definitely think that conservation ought to be reaching out to, about the hay and
Yeah,
where that
and,
gets started.
and
and is-
they did, Dave probably has some fill-in for that. They did talk about it at their last meeting,
Okay.
and they worked together a draft.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is better or worse, I'm just trying to, I said I'd try to keep it to 2 pages, I can reduce the font and try again. Awareness was added, completed, whether you wanna leave them on there or not.
I don't know if I would appreciate smaller font.
Oh, okay, well, some of them are duplicate, just because I wanted to touch base with the first part as to what we were doing tonight. Some of them are down below as well. I just wanted to know if we had arrived at a different estimation completion, that's all. I don't know, Janice, if you want any more than that. If you don't like I can make another column if we need to, then it does make it smaller.
All we gotta do is get rid of some.
yeah,
And do it on legal paper.
yeah.
What's that?
Do it on legal size paper.
Or I can do it this way, then it's more, yeah. No way. That's 12, I can go to 11, it's not that bad, but at the same time, Dave makes a very good point.
Any immediate feedback?
I think it's better,
Yeah.
for sure. At least, you're not just staring at a bunch of things now, okay, we got a date next to it, so.
Yeah, and I tried to put them together, meaning April, and if you like a different priority, or, like it had mentioned before, we estimated,
Yeah, at some point, we can get really sophisticated and say when we're actually gonna start something.
Yeah, so
but, yeah,
when you get down to the
Right now, this is a
RFPs.
really good start.
Yeah, when you get down to the RFPs, I just put May/fall, because they really should go out in the fall, because you're looking at 25's numbers,
Okay.
if that's okay to you guys. IT, I'll have to get you that one together. Lawn care I'll have to fix. Cemetery, we may move up a little bit. I have talked with the sexton at the Hillside Cemetery, and because we've been reached out to for headstones being placed, and right now it's very wet, so to put a piece of equipment on or something like that, they're gonna hold off a couple weeks for burials, so that's why I ended up putting, on the second page, or in the backside, it says cemetery, normal duties, improvements and maintenance. I did May/June, because we will be having to go look at, probe, find where we can have burials, but it probably won't be until May.
Okay.
And probably Salem has the most seniority on that one.
Yeah, I need training on that too.
Which means I get to delegate, right?
That's right. After you train us.
I mean, I'm open to suggestions, trying to put a date down, try not to miss anything, I think. At least put it on paper.
I guess minor thing right in the middle of the back page. Last row of completed items, Mildred Hall is spelled wrong.
All right.
And then on the front, so you said the RFP, I guess what is the harm in putting those out as soon as we finalize them?
Well, the only thing is, if you're gonna get a number, they're usually only good for 30 days. So unless you're gonna make the change right away, it's up to you. I just put it in the fall, because we're in budget mode at that point, and people know you're looking for it for 25. If you wanna do it ahead of
Just
time.
assuming like default budget, same anyway, you know.
Right.
I would hate to rely on more money and then
Could be less.
not switch. That'd be great, yeah.
Right. No, I only put fall, honestly, for the budget season. We could change that to something else.
Yeah, what I'm thinking I would want to have happen, and this is just me speaking for me, you know, come October through January, we are consumed with budget.
Sure.
So
And CIP,
everything that we're gonna get done this year, we have to get done before October.
Okay. So then if I could do,
Yep.
I could, put May/August, doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? Instead of fall?
Well, fall technically goes September, October, but yeah,
Well, I was
I'm just
thinking
trying to.
August and be
yeah,
done.
Done,
October starts the craziness.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't mind doing it for August and push, and get it
it's
done.
fine, yeah.
I just, the reason why fall was there was usually a number's only good for 30 days. That's all.
Well, are we under contract with anybody? I didn't think we were.
You are under contract at the moment with the lawn care that ends in November of 2024. Because they're good through the end of November of '24.
Okay, so even if,
IT as well.
IT?
IT is at the end of '24. The other ones, I don't remember when custodial is. Engineering and legal is the first time we've done it in many, many years.
yeah, I was gonna say, I thought at least on those two that we
Those-
didn't have a contract.
That's right.
So we could do that and put them under contract at any time.
Sure.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, so we don't have to wait till fall on
No, we don't have
those.
to wait till fall. I'll
So
change
on
it.
those two, we'll definitely move forward with.
Mhm.
And the engineering services, the planning board has it. They did have a typo that they found, and they also, for their documents that they send over to the town engineer, they're gonna need a specific response time of 15 days, I believe is what they said. I don't have my note in front of me. So that's good information, but they did ask for more time to review it in detail, but they're not meeting again until May, so we might not get that one out in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. That's why I said planning board reviewing now.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Janice, for being alternate again.
You're welcome, that's why we have
Go to a
alternates.
planning meeting.
Oh, that's okay.
I had a work obligation.
That's what we're here for, to help each other out.
Any suggestions if you want? I'll just keep moving
Okay,
unless you want to see something else.
well, thank you, I really appreciate all the work you put into that. Okay, so as far as anything that we need to do tonight that we haven't already had on the agenda, is there anything? So before we go into correspondence and other business, was there anything that came up? And I'm specifically probably asking about the Deedle memo.
Say that again?
Deedle memo? Does he need anything from us?
No, I guess we could talk about that.
Yeah, I just want to
I
make sure
like
that
the
if there's an
suggestion.
action,
I like this suggestion.
yeah, if there's an action, do we need to go into a non-public or a non-meeting to talk about it?
I don't think there was. I think he just said he'd be contacting.
Okay, I just didn't know if he was waiting on input from us or expecting input
that
from
I
us.
saw.
Okay,
Yeah, I didn't think he was waiting on input. I just wanted you to know where he
Okay.
was with, after the structuring conference.
yep. Okay, so I think that brings us to correspondence. Last week I brought up Mark Florence from Washington, New Hampshire. Want to discuss lessons learned on the .gov domain.
Yeah, so I
all
reached
set
out and
now?
left, I had to call him. I left him a message, but he hasn't called me back.
Okay,
And I just wanted to tell we didn't go from a .org to a .gov. We went to aware.nh.gov to aware.nh.gov. So I'm not sure
it's not
I
exactly
can
apples and
share.
apples.
I mean, it wasn't that difficult a process for us because we just lost the first dot. We didn't go from a .org or a .com to a .gov.
Okay,
So I left a message for him to call me. I could try to help him, but I just explained that it wasn't apples to apples with us.
okay. Well, just close the loop with him. That's the important
Yeah,
thing.
and I
If we
gave
can
him my
help him,
number.
we
He
can help
call
him.
back.
If not, we
Yeah.
can't. You sent over 2 complaints.
Yep,
Wanted to
without-
know how to handle those from the specifics. I don't know if the health officer might be able to take a stab at those.
Well, she brought him up to me,
Oh,
and I said, okay, because he had been working with Tony
Yeah.
And then didn't realize Tony had left.
Okay.
So I think I can have her look at, obviously, the health part, because it talks about sewage. I'm just wondering if,
Yeah, or is it something we can ask Jack to check out?
I can definitely ask Jack to check out when he's out and about.
Okay,
May not be till Wednesday.
yeah. And then this is an opportunity for us to set up our complaint logging process.
Yep.
Any volunteers?
Yeah. Can't see what that's gonna look like.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean-
know, but, yeah, I mean, I can take that on.
Okay.
Just the log part of it.
Yeah, how we're gonna log them, how we're gonna report them.
How to make sure that they've been closed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nice to have something online, but I guess start with something simple first and move it.
Sign a
So I'll
tracking
also have,
number.
I'll have the health officer do what she can do on her
Yeah.
part.
Any other ways you guys think we can deal with those two complaints without having a code enforcement officer right now?
I mean, we've been in a situation without code enforcement in the past. What have we done in those situations?
In prior situations, they have asked me to answer because I used to do land use, but again, I don't know that, I mean, I can just point out as far as the, one unit on a lot, as far as the illegal wood stove in that dwelling, I think I could turn that over to fire, because you don't put a stovepipe through a camper. As far as the trash, that can be health. But it's very clearly that you can't have two dwellings, two habitable dwellings on one lot. That's
That-
part of a
that'd be Jack.
zoning, you know. I haven't been down there in a long time, I don't doubt that it looks like that. But regardless, I don't know that that's a habitable,
Yeah.
you know, place. But what I can do is I'll have actually Jack and Katie go together. I don't like sending the health officer by herself. I can have her go with him.
Yeah, if
And
he's
we can
willing to
look
do
at
that.
it.
I know that's a little bit additional scope from what we asked him
Or I can also
to
send the fire
do.
chief over with Katie. They do a lot of health inspections together.
Yeah.
And that's and he can look at it from the standpoint of a hazard. And if I gave him the ordinance, maybe he could write a letter to him. You know, as far as add it to the list of possible violations.
So what would we normally do, write up a violation, have them, I'm not sure what the protocol is.
Yeah, well, Tony always went out to meet with him first and then did a follow-up from there. Prior to that, I believe Chip did the same thing when Chip did code enforcement.
All right.
He went out and looked at it first. I'm not denying that that's not what there, but I think if we send Katie and the chief out to see what's there, send Jack out to see what's there, report back, and maybe we could put together something for a letter
It's just,
to the homeowner, because there's two different owners.
Mhm.
But we could also let the gentleman know how we're attacking it without a Tony, because he does know we don't have Tony when he came Friday.
And then the letter just states any violation that we found or.
Yeah,
ordinances
well, that's
that
what
were
I was wondering, if
broken.
we could maybe collaboratively put together maybe health violations, fire violations, building inspector violations, and point out the two dwellings on one, and make a violation letter. If that's, we can work collaboratively
Sounds
on that,
reasonable.
because it usually was Tony that sent it out, after he went out and looked for himself, but we don't have that person.
Mhm.
Hopefully we have somebody soon. It's a start. I mean, as long as we stay,
Absolutely.
as long as we stay in touch,
Yeah.
I
mean,
have a
I
phone
think
number
we-
here.
One of the first steps in the process would be acknowledging that we got it.
Yes.
If you haven't done that already.
No, I have not. I have his phone number. I can call him.
Okay.
And I can explain, if he's not watching or listening, that we received them both. we're gonna have the health officer, we're gonna have the fire chief, we're gonna have the building inspector, and there'll be a notice put together at that point, but
If
you're right.
confirmed.
Right, but you're right, communication's key.
Yep.
That's really the only thing we can do at this point.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Okay. I've asked a couple times about the folks that have inquired about the personal use of the fire vehicle. Do we have an answer on that yet?
I do not, because that policy has draft on it, and I don't know where the draft came from. It's just in a folder. I don't know if it's something that was looked at and talked about. I think you have a perfect opportunity now to put that into place.
Yeah.
Because it was prior to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so are you suggesting that we just go ahead and put a personal use of vehicles into the personnel policy, or there's already something in
think
the
there's-
personnel policy?
There's already something in there about
Yeah, that's what I thought
highway
too.
your vehicle, and I think you just, wouldn't
Okay.
it be the same? A town vehicle's a town vehicle, doesn't matter
Right.
color, it's.
Yeah, I just
what
didn't know if
department
there
it
was
is.
something special in the fire
It talks
department.
about, the personnel policy talks about, personal use of the computers, you can't go on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook and do your own thing, you can't, it talks about, vehicles, having people riding with you and using it for your personal use.
Okay,
That's
Yeah,
kinda what I
it's-
thought.
So it says, though, it's pretty short. For the purposes of this policy, town-owned vehicles shall be considered workplaces and shall not be used to transport unauthorized personnel. That's it.
Okay, so you can expand on that.
okay,
Because you guys can, I believe you can expand, because you guys can have a public hearing, you're gonna, to add the 4 policies into your personnel, why don't you elaborate on that at the same time about personal use? And I can grab with what they were thinking of using for personal use and share it and see what your thoughts are.
okay. All right. Sounds like a plan.
I have seen where it's different for, like a fire department, where they're on call, on duty,
That's,
what
that's
have
why I
you,
was wondering if it was different.
versus, somebody going on lunch break.
Right,
Yeah, and you have, Chief Moore takes his home. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but that's
another-
part of his,
Yeah.
his,
Oh, true, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
one or the other, fire,
Right.
police, DPW, there's 3 of them that are used.
okay,
The truck is a town vehicle and it's used during the day for town business.
right.
Doesn't go home with anybody, it sits right there.
We're not using it for pizza runs or anything like that, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so the action plan is to, when we update the personnel policy to integrate the fire, to expand on personal use of vehicles. Okay. The new thing that I had is, I don't know how I missed the magnitude of this issue, but I'm gonna confess that I did. You had mentioned that Beth lost some files,
She did.
and I guess it was because of the IT backup,
Yep.
and I missed all that. I just thought she had just lost some files.
Yeah, no.
So
the
it's
IT
bigger than that.
It's bigger than that. It was bigger than that. And it was, Maureen had to input dog and motor vehicle.
A lot of them.
Well, it's dog month, that's
Yeah.
why, right? But
Yeah.
motor vehicles and, IT was, I asked him to reach out to Salem because I don't understand IT to see what happened and what he didn't.
Okay,
Because I don't understand IT. So when I was told that he lost it, and Beth said, how could that happen?
that's what I wanna know.
You need to make sure it doesn't happen again, but also, we had asked that he talk to Salem, being the IT person, so that he could explain what happened.
Did he?
That didn't happen?
I'd have to double check, but no, I didn't.
Okay.
All right, because I asked him to, because I don't understand IT.
Well, he can explain it to us. We're gonna ask him for a corrective action if no one objects.
Okay?
Would that have been Doug?
Yes,
Yeah.
nothing.
I don't have anything from
Okay.
Doug since January.
Okay. So what we have to do is define the event, the time period, the files lost, the backup not being recoverable, and put that into a problem statement. and then ask him to respond with identifying what the causes were, what the root cause is, the solution, what they're doing to implement those solutions, and then how they're verifying the effectiveness of those solutions, and we may actually want to do a verification of those, so.
Okay.
You can pass
Yeah.
that over to her. And then it obviously has to have a return by date on it.
Yep.
You know, usually 30 days is ample time.
30 days.
Okay. Okay, what do you guys have? Selectman Knapp?
No, nothing, I guess.
No? Did you get your 2 trees done? The owl, before the owls? I was concerned about the owls.
Yeah, I did, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 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 the bats, yeah.
Oh, they're bats, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Selectman
James,
Pratt?
before you move on, just, you guys saw this, the trees?
Yes.
How, I mean, that's nothing that's in the lawn care contract.
No,
Is that
it's not.
something that,
No.
I know in the past Benji and the highway guys have taken care of? Is that something that we're doing?
I think
That's-
it's not on a
That's
building
Pine
or nothing,
Grove,
that's
that's Pine
certainly,
Grove. You guys saw that.
certainly think that'd be easy enough for them to go do with the back.
And then this here is the Quaker one, over off Quaker. I mean, is it something, it's not part of their contract.
No, but we've got all these other tree problems that we need to take care
Well,
of,
the
so.
trees that are flagged, we are getting a quote for, supposed to get a quote for, to remove those. Those are the ones, on the Bank Schmid property line. But these have now fallen down.
They're all down, that doesn't take a specialist, I would ask Jason if he could,
Just go, is that all right for me to go ask?
Like, y'all had to work around headstones and whatnot in the past?
yeah, and that's like on the edge, it doesn't look like it's.
Yeah, so that's on the, if you were to come in the cemetery and then go along the wall and then you go to the back, it's back here.
Seems
You know
like
where
it
that
missed
is.
them and landed out in the roadway.
It missed the headstones, it landed in the road,
Could
but it
stay in the
obviously.
road, not be, if that was in the middle of the cemetery, and wouldn't know where the grave was, about rigor back,
Yeah.
well, I'd say different, but it looks like they can sit in the road unless the picture is different than I'm seeing it, but.
Before I forgot, I wanted to have,
No,
that's
thank
something
you.
I can just ask Highway to go take care of.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one might be a little trickier. I don't know this cemetery as well, but that looks like it might be somewhat in the middle. I don't know where that cemetery is. I mean, I know where it is, I just don't know where the tree
Yeah,
came
because
down.
that's a log, that's not a road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't,
A lot smaller than the first one, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
it
know
won't
where
be
is.
something you can get equipment, I think, across because of the,
Yeah,
probably.
but I mean, that's just a person with a chainsaw. It's not, you don't need any special equipment to haul anything out of there. I mean, I've cut up personally logs smaller, bigger than that.
Right,
haul
I
them
just
away,
want
yeah.
to, I want to ask him because
Yeah,
fall,
no.
spring cleanup will be starting soon,
And they won't be able to do it.
and they
around
won't be
those.
able to do it because that's not part of their contract.
Okay.
And this one has 2 gates? It has 2 gates, but I swear the one near the road is locked.
Is that up off,
It's on-
is that up off, Flanders? No.
This one's on Quaker.
Quaker.
It's like you go past the ball fields a little bit, and it's on the right. Go
Okay.
past the
You get the
big
front,
house.
and then you get a back portion. where
All
you-
right, I gotcha.
I just bring up, yeah, do we need to make sure whoever goes up in there has the right access? Who can open those if they are locked? I swear one of them's locked.
Don't know.
And then Sherry also mentioned that there was one in Worthley.
A tree in Wordley?
Yeah, when she was here this evening.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You can just go take care of that.
There, I mean, you drive around and it just looks, trees are everywhere. My
Yeah,
goodness.
no,
I think they're,
it happened. All right, thank you.
I always thought all those on Pine Grove up near the road ought to be cut, but every time you say that, then somebody.
Well, they
gets
did
it up.
remove a lot because my in-laws are at Pine Grove,
Yeah.
and they had couple of huge trees. And, they were like this big around, and those did get removed at one point.
Pine trees like water, sand doesn't have water in it, so they're all rotten.
Right.
You never could have pine tree in sand or gravel that wasn't rotten. I don't know how the road get that big, but
I don't know.
I
Dangerous.
guarantee they're all rotten. That one that fell was rotten, so.
Yeah, looks like it. Thank you, sorry.
Okay, Selectman Pratt, what do you have?
Yeah, the conservation meeting, just a quick rundown. They had a public comment section. Ray Banks had gotten up, and there's another, well, I think we might have talked about the cemetery, but another cemetery issue Requested that the town look into repairs needed at the Buzzell Hill Road Cemetery. Trees need to be removed, and there are large ditches and holes along the property line, as well as a plug culvert. I believe that was in the same situation. We directed him to get on the BOS agenda and send us some pictures with his request. I didn't see anything come in yet, but he said he was going to. And he was also looking for information on East Road. Asked when there was going to be a resolution. I told him that we're working on the situation. During the meeting, Duck Pond site walk was rescheduled to 4/19. It's going to start here at the town office. He also requested a full-size copy of the plan and 11 by 17 copies. Naomi was going to get that for him.
Yeah, I have them in the box.
And there was Barden property bid proposal opening. That got postponed due to not understanding if all the structures on the site had been inspected for asbestos. Fact-finding was going to be conducted during the week, and they were going to meet Friday at 4:45 to review a path forward. And then after that, go to the Duck Pond walk site walk. East Road field lease, it's going to be forwarded to us, the hay fields. And it's going to get, they want to place on the agenda and have that reviewed and then send it off for legal review. And he's supposed to be getting that to us. He had a couple of small changes to make on it. They want to know the status of the permit for the gravel pit.
Is there a
I'm not
specific gravel
sure.
pit? Or was this the East Road gravel pit?
My assumption is the East Road, because that's what we were talking about at the time. And I was not sure where or what that entailed.
I think we'll have to find that out. I don't know what it is off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
so when Benji was part of it, when we took over from the gravel pit, when we purchased the piece, the town was supposed to have the use of the gravel pit on there. And what there is an expired AOT permit that has not been renewed with DES. That's what they're looking for the status. And I have not done another AOT permit. The first one expired. I don't know when it expired. I gotta go back to the Ray Banks folder to find the AOT permit itself anyway. But I don't know if there's anything, I mean, I'd be happy to orchestrate it, but it's nothing that I do because it takes an engineer to figure out the AOT and how much material's there and how much is gonna be removed and things like that. So that's why it's really not, the permit is not current because of the AOT, which is alteration of terrain. Permit is not, it's expired. That needs to be re-permitted to brought back to life before it can actually be a gravel operation. That's the understanding.
So it's expired just because of time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But, so the information, I'm assuming, would be the same?
Information should be the same, and we have the old Banks Schmid gravel files upstairs in the gravel stuff.
Okay.
So it
So-
should be the same, yes.
So we gotta just dig that out and get to look at it. I guess, yeah, put another line on the,
Yeah, and I think the question that's going to flow from there is, are we going to take more gravel out of it, assuming that we did up the permit?
I think that's the intent. It was, we purchased it
If
or
not,
we
we don't
took it
do
for
the-
the intent to
Right.
use that.
And they did it, didn't they, for a while?
We did it for a while, and then the AOT permits had expired.
Okay.
There's still quite a lot of sand, beautiful winter sand left.
Winter sand?
And there's another ester up beyond that one, so I would think it'd be worth the town's,
Okay.
you know, I know it was mentioned 100 years ago that town had 10 years to mine the gravel out, then they're gonna put ball fields, but I think it's kind of been,
But the AOT permit is a
Assume, but-
6-year, it's 6 years at a time,
is
I
it?
think,
don't
yeah.
know,
It's either that or site-specific 6 years,
Any
one of
pretty
the two.
good consensus that there's no money anytime soon to restore that pit to be baseball fields. I would think it'd
I
be
haven't
the
been out there.
town's benefit to mine what gravel's left,
Yeah,
unless the engineering costs are $100,000 or something.
I'll add that to my list. Thanks.
all right, they also said they're gonna be approaching the BOS for some legal assistance for Poor Farm.
Yeah.
What's the problem up there?
So there, if you remember, there was, it's been a while. So there was a gentleman that filed there was a discrepancy of a line.
Okay.
And then they spent a lot of money with someone doing that line, and they had a phone conversation, which led me to believe things went well, but now it's been dead silence again, so they want to move forward with quiet title. And they would like the BOS to let them go to council so we can take the next step, because we were provided some verbal, but nothing further than that, and it's been silent since. That's the quiet title issue.
They're moving forward with some trail marking. They're assessing an abutting property encroachment on Collins Light Conservation Easement that was found on the monitoring report. They asked about member renewal status, and I informed that the public has been sent, that a public notice was sent out, or a public address, I guess, sent out for volunteers to allow public response to open or expiring terms. And I did ask about the Forester RFP. They're targeting summertime for the RFP, but they would like to have a collaborative session with us as far as expectations.
Yeah, and I think that's what we
RFP.
agreed to do. That was before your time, but I think we did agree to that, and I think that's why I brought it up last week, I believe. Okay.
That's all I got on that. I saw Chief Moore sent us an email stating that next week, looks like he'll be doing some research on Flanders Road. And I also saw we had the surplus auction deadline coming up. I don't know,
Yeah, that's in May, yeah.
does everyone just report back to you?
Yes, what they'll do is they'll come forward with you, because we have to take it off our asset list, so I know he's got 2 things going. I didn't hear anything from highway and anything from fire. So those 2 would come back, and technically, we have to fill out a form, and then someone would sign the title as a seller, and then it goes over to the auction, and they fill it out the day of the auction when it sells. But then, you guys have to sign the title, so I want to get the information, so Maureen should have the title, I think, in the safe deposit box. So we'll pull out the titles for those vehicles. There's a documentation to fill out, and then the titles go with it when he goes up to take the vehicle up there.
And I saw that the website was updated for the group email. There was a notice that was put on there, so that's good. And lastly, I don't see that item on the administrative report that I brought up last week. That was for the answer from Mrs. Pratt.
Yeah, and actually, Janice and I talked about that today.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly, and I wanna look at the answer before we do anything.
Okay.
And I think we should all look at the answer, not just me. Okay, thank you. What do you have, Selectman Bloom?
I'm just going back to what Mr. Hippler said in public comment. He reminded us that the police radios, we should stay on top of that, because we had been waiting until we were ready to pour concrete, and it is getting closer.
Yep, we're probably getting close, yeah.
So, yeah, really, I think that's more of a awareness thing, or where it is on this list, or even,
It's not on, I don't think it's on that list. There, can I just
It
share with
should
you,
be on
there's
the
been
list.
about 6 emails that we do finally have a site plan.
okay.
Oh,
That came through later in the week. We gotta get to Jason to see timeframe. The other thing is we need a price, because that wasn't part of it for the concrete. And then the tower comes in 10-foot sections, so we were looking for a place to store it that was safe, and Chief Moore and Chief Rorick worked together, and where it's 10-foot sections, there's nothing in the East Ware Fire Station, so they could put it inside. So that's moving forward, but it's not on that list, you're right.
it is on the list, but it's under the ARPA funds committed by 2024. It's not specifically under there, under police radio infrastructure.
And that's what's
So we
kind
can-
of frustrating about that whole thing for me is myself and one other person had mentioned that, you know, that concrete's not a small portion of that
No.
job.
No, it's deep.
Never have I put out a road job and, you know, told the select board it's gonna cost 10 grand to paint lines, but I don't know how much the pavement's gonna be. That's the biggest part of the project. That's a deep, deep hole, gonna be full of rebar. I have no idea what it's gonna cost, but a lot.
I can just share with you that there's a cell tower on the back corner of ours, has been for years, and that piece of concrete has gotta be probably 8 to 12 feet
Yeah,
in
I
a
mean,
chunk.
it's
Because
thick.
with all the rebar, and then the tower actually gets hooked to this big piece of cement. And this, I know, is a 130-foot tower, but it's not, we have a big round one, this I think is lattice. But anyway, I think truly, to be honest, whether it should go out to bid for concrete, which we can do. I mean, Jason can do the work, but the concrete itself is gonna be more than your purchasing policy.
I'm just curious, unless I'm wrong, I was frustrated that the project went anywhere without, like, half of it being estimated anyways.
So that's
And if
not in
they
the
could-
original plan.
I don't believe so, I forget
geez.
where it started to begin with, but I remember when we were looking at the plans, we're like, well, do we have an idea what the concrete's gonna cost? I don't ever remember hearing that number, unless I'm mistaken, I was there for a meeting, and I apologize, but I know that question was asked, maybe I'll be wrong on
I think the only thing
amount.
we approved was in Salem, the only thing we approved was the radio with two-way and the funds for the radios.
And that was before me,
Was
Right.
it before you? Okay.
Yeah.
Time flies, I guess.
yeah. Like,
Yeah,
we
'cause I
started,
was-
we
I
started
was the
talking
works
concrete.
director when they were doing that, yeah.
Yeah, we started talking about it, and then it was like, well, it's frozen, so. And that's, you know, we got to the site plan and whatnot.
Yeah, they've been waiting on the site plan to get done, and we just barely got it. I think,
Were they waiting on that because they needed to have the exact specifications for the
Yeah.
concrete?
yeah, because they needed to know how
Okay.
it was gonna be anchored, how
Right.
tall it was gonna be. There was some specifics that needed to
We've
be
ordered the
done.
towers, or we don't know that?
I don't know, I'd have to ask, but
Okay. Let's get a complete update on that soon.
It sounded like we're piecemealing buying used tower, and didn't know what the concrete was gonna cost, and I don't know, I have a better plan than that. for
Yeah,
me.
is there an overall project plan, you know, with
if Chief's
predecessor
coming in next
tasks?
week, we could do all that
Yeah.
together.
That'd be great to know, in
Yep,
case we missed a bunch of, or I missed a bunch of pieces and don't remember correctly.
Okay,
sorry.
Thank
Sal.
you.
That's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Selectman Drury?
We did have a park meeting, and there are just a couple of things that came out of that. Couple of IT things, I guess they're getting their duplicate emails from the park distribution list, some to their new town and some emails and some to their personal.
So just to answer that, Park was the next group to put to the warenh.gov. I've signed everybody up for warenh.gov, and I've asked them to sign it up. I don't know that everybody has done it, and I think the fear is it goes to still their personal as well as the warenh, because they're not sure who's activated and who's not. That's my sense.
Right, so
That's what I understood out of the email.
Yep, so, and that's my understanding as well, and that's what I told them, that I said,
Yep.
basically, we have to make sure that if you're getting both, that's a good thing, and now we can go back and remove your personal
Right.
emails from that.
Right.
So, that one, and then there was some, a name misspelling, so if would that go to you, or does that need to go to?
Oh, Shelby's. I think it was her.
Maybe,
All right. I think I saw that one. I think it was Shelby's.
but
I spelled it wrong, I think.
but we can, I think it was Lisa's, actually, her last name,
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was.
so.
So I had put Purington, but it really should be Grolian. Yeah.
It should be, I think, scratch that, reverse it. It
Yeah.
should be Barrington. So, anyway,
Curiosity, we were gonna run into May here, and we always interviewed the kids for Park.
Yep.
Sorry.
no,
Sorry.
it's all right. That's on my list. Let's see, they did their walkthrough on Sunday, looking at looking at the fields, checking out storm damage, things like that. I don't have a full report on that. Tennis courts, looks like John Stark is starting up a tennis team or club, and we're looking to use that, so that's just for information for everybody. Let's see, there is a request that came in to rename ball field in memory of a longtime coach, and the park is going to be looking for policy, whether they put one together or there is something on what sort of policy for naming after, after people. I figured the most money wins, but maybe not a whole field, maybe a park bench or something, or, around the flagpole, what would be appropriate for that sort of thing?
Do we have anything either in writing on a policy? I don't see anything on
So
the
I was
website.
asked, only because our family donated the field, there's nothing that indicated, the only thing my brother-in-law wanted to do was to name the field entrance, and we, as a family, put up the sign that's there. After that, there really was no stipulation, but we talked about when, there was a couple that donated a lot of money to the library. There's a bench outside the library. Then when the librarian passed away, his family put together, I think there's a chess table out there, and that's out there. So naming of the field has been not talked about until now. And I think that's where he mentioned the bench. And I know there's been a lot of discussion, and I know the gentleman that they're looking for to name it after was very instrumental with the kids, I get it. But we've never done it before, we've always accepted the donation of a bench. Again, comes with maintenance in years' time, or when somebody decides to destroy it, then becomes
Which
our
happened to the
responsibility.
table, or-
Right.
I don't know if it
So
was
I do know that
intentional or not.
they are looking at a policy because it's uncharted water right now.
Who is they?
Parks and Rec. Yeah, they're looking at,
Should that be more of a town-wide, though?
they're
thing?
looking at other communities to see what they do for their sporting fields.
Okay.
But we could expand it a little bit more to other things, because we have done benches at the library, we have done a chess table at the library, we've done some other things. But naming a field is nothing that we've done. Because, again, Purington Field, that gentleman was a selectman. Mike Purington was. Howard Ineson spent many, many, many years on Parks and Rec, and was probably instrumental in getting that started way back when Ineson came. That's how the names of the fields got done. The rest of it is uncharted. I'm not familiar with it.
They did mention that the closed captioning is not showing up on YouTube.
You have to give it a day. I showed Denise that.
Okay,
So you have to,
Oh,
for
she-
some reason, I don't know why, for some reason you have to wait, because I've had people tell me tomorrow morning I'll get a call and say it's not up there. I don't know what I don't understand the YouTube, but there were some that we could show the closed captions, but it had to take a day. I don't know if that's uploaded. I honestly don't know.
well, the closed caption, I know that's something that YouTube does, and so they're probably, it's whatever they auto-generate
Yep.
for that thing. So it doesn't surprise me that it takes them a little while to, when a video is uploaded,
Okay.
to go through the audio and everything, but I just mention it, may,
Yep.
if we're seeing that
I don't know.
systemic, if it's systemic, that things are, just never showing up, then maybe it's a setting in our streaming.
Okay.
But if it's just wait another day or two and then check it, that's easy enough. and
Yeah, I
they-
think
they
part
no
of the
control
closed
over that.
captions, and then the other part they like is if you go to more and then translation, transcript, it comes up on the right-hand side, what everybody said, and a lot of times that's what they use, and they can hold it there versus trying to rewind, because it goes back too far. But if you stop it, you can see the transcription.
Right.
That's another part of the feature that they like.
I bring it
Yeah,
up,
no, I understand, I just don't know how to fix it.
I mean, I don't, right. But at least, if we keep an eye on that and,
Okay.
and other committees and other
Sure.
things, it's like, it's been 6 months and nobody's been seeing
Yeah.
closed captioning, then maybe it's something to look at. And then, they are going to be having the new hires coming in for the selectmen to approve or to hire. They're gonna have who they recommend. The question was, do we want to see everybody, and which includes the rehires, or just the new people for this year?
Well, I may have started that scuttlebug a few years ago because the board rehired the Parks and Rec and wouldn't rehire a part-time DPW without seeing them second time. I really don't care, but as long as we stay consistent with what we do,
We interviewed the new hires last year.
yeah.
We didn't bring in the rehires. But that's the board's choice. If you want to see a name to a face, entirely up to you guys.
I'm happy just doing the news, as long as we stay consistent, I guess, with everybody. But
There is a little bit of difference in scope of responsibilities, not saying that the park job is not important and
Right.
not have responsibilities, but there's a difference. Not saying I want it either way, just saying there's a little bit of a difference. What
yeah,
do you guys want to do? Gentlemen?
Do you know how many we're talking?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Less when you're just looking at the new ones, as opposed to looking at everybody.
Yeah.
But what the scope is, I don't know.
Can you find that out and let us know?
I can.
We can, once we know how many, I mean, if it's 30 versus 5, it might be a sway our decision.
They weren't looking for it next week, were they?
No, because they're not opening Chase Park for a little while.
Okay.
Right, but whoever we hire still has to do paperwork with the school as well as their parents.
And there's like the cleanup day ahead of time.
Right, there's a cleanup day.
And training.
So I would say no later than the first May meeting, you would have them interviewed and on board so that their parents can do their paperwork for whatever paperwork that's required for the child when you hire underage.
And there's going to be just ongoing, continued questions about the East Road property and when that gravel pit will be no longer used as a gravel pit and things can start moving.
yeah, well, I guess that's up to this board if they want to extend it as a gravel pit again or not, so.
Or at least set a timeline and say, okay, this is when things are going to stop, and then we can decide what else to do with it. But there's more discussions to be had about the whole thing.
Right.
I only bring that up for awareness.
We're not going to forget. But I appreciate that everybody's very interested. This is a good problem to have as far as interest goes. Okay, anything else? Okay, motion to adjourn?
Did you want non-public?
Oh, we're not going to do the non-public for the exit interview.
Right.
We probably should do a brief non-public for the action items that I referenced earlier. Was there anything else?
No, that's what I just wanted to,
Okay. Which would that be under?
Is it K? There's like a legal
Yeah.
something.
M?
I thought M was reputation.
No, M should be legal?
No, it's not. M's not reputation.
No, C is reputation. A is promotion, demotion, B is hiring.
M is non-public minutes.
Definitely not K.
L,
Is it legal?
consideration of legal advice provided by legal
Yeah,
counsel.
I think it's L.
Yeah.
Even when legal counsel is not present.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I motion that we go into a non-public session under RSA 91-A3, Roman numeral 2, item L.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call.
Yes.
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 Okay.
You can adjourn
I
after.
move we adjourn.
Um, I'm sorry?
Oh, I was good, jumping the gun, I said, I moved that we adjourn right after.
I think we can accommodate that. Do we need to do that in public? I don't think we do.
Well,
The
before,
adjournment.
We will
No,
come
we,
out in public, but
oh,
after you come out, you're gonna adjourn, right?
right.
Right.
Okay.